Vol 2, Chapter 1064, Countermeasures of the Jedi Order. On July 4, 21 BBY, within the bustling heart of the Galactic Republic on the planet Coruscant, a crucial meeting was underway in the Supreme Council chamber at the top floor of the Jedi Temple Tower. Present were Master Yoda, Master Windu, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, gathered to discuss a matter of grave importance. Master Windu, with a tone heavy with concern, shared the unsettling revelations they had uncovered. Master Yoda, the individual known as the Angel of Death, has confessed his dual identity as Tang Xiao, the governor of the Dawn Planet. More alarmingly, he has disclosed that the other Sith Lord, Darth Sidious, is none other than the Speaker of the Galactic Senate, Sheev Palpatine. Master Yoda, leaning on his cane, his face a map of weariness and age, pondered deeply. A two-person system, a tradition of the Sith Lords, it seems. This implies there are two pairs of Sith masters and apprentices within our galaxy. That's correct, Obi-Wan Kenobi added. According to the Angel of Death, he and Adricatus, also known as Darth Lilim, form one pair. Meanwhile, Darth Sidious and Count Dooku, the leader of the Separatist movement, constitute the other. However, it appears Count Dooku, or Darth Tyrannus as he is known, was not officially acknowledged by the Sith, making his status somewhat ambiguous. Master Windu expressed his disdain. These villains, lurking in the shadows, indulge in all manner of deceit and uphold bizarre traditions. Master Yoda, moving towards the window, reflected on the gravity of their situation. If the Angel of Death's claims hold truth, then the core of our galaxy has long been under the dark side's influence. This information could be the key to understanding the pervasive shadow over the Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic. Master Windu, skeptical, questioned the reliability of the Angel of Death's information. But how can we trust such clearly malevolent sources? What then shall be our course of action if these revelations are indeed true? Master Yoda inquired directly. Master Windu's expression darkened further. We cannot openly challenge the Speaker of the Republic. Our only option is to conduct a covert investigation. However, should Palpatine become aware of our scrutiny, our position would be compromised. He continued, My interactions with the Republic Council have allowed me to sense a shift in the political climate. Palpatine's power has been steadily increasing. Over the past year, 106 administrative departments on Coruscant have been dissolved, resulting in over 30,000 layoffs, yet more than 70,000 new hires have been made. This indicates a subtle yet significant restructuring of the Republic's political framework. Obi-Wan Kenobi interjected. On the surface, this might seem like an attempt to combat the Republic's bureaucratic inefficiencies. But has it truly led to any improvement in administrative efficiency? Master Windu challenged. Obi-Wan sighed, shaking his head in resignation. No, it's merely a redistribution and concentration of power, not a genuine reform. Master Windu nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. I see your point, Master Yoda. Regardless of whether Palpatine is Darth Sidious, we must keep a watchful eye on him to prevent the Republic from further decline. But what of the war? Could this all be part of a Sith conspiracy? Obi-Wan asked anxiously. The war must be brought to an end swiftly, Master Windu declared firmly. We need to minimize the Jedi's involvement in combat and concentrate our efforts on Coruscant. This way, regardless of Palpatine's true identity, he will be forced to act cautiously. Master Yoda gazed out the window, his expression somber. The war, winnable it is not, and reducing the Jedi's participation will play into the hands of the Republic and Palpatine's schemes. Turning to Master Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi continued, The war's outbreak and the accumulation of contradictions are unstoppable. From the moment Palpatine became the Chancellor and Count Dooku took up the mantle of the Separatists' leader, our fate was sealed. Everything has become irreversible. It's true, Obi-Wan added thoughtfully. If we, the Jedi, reduce our involvement in battles, Palpatine could easily blame us for any losses. Yet, if we continue to engage fully, we're merely playing into Palpatine's hands. Our only viable option is to capture either Palpatine or Count Dooku. Only then might we stand a chance at negotiating peace with the Separatists. Make peace with the Separatists who have torn the Galactic Republic apart? Master Windu's voice rose in disbelief. You should consider whether such thoughts border on treason, Obi-Wan. Master Yoda, leaning heavily on his crutch, interjected, "The very reason this war persists is such thinking, our failure as Jedi Knights." Tapping his crutch on the ground for emphasis, he added, "To planet Celia you must go, Obi-Wan. Take an army. There in a raid your destiny awaits." Obi-Wan paused, absorbing Yoda's words, then realization dawned. "You're suggesting I seize this chance to return to the Dawn Planet to seek out Tang Xiao, the so-called Angel of Death?" Master Windu protested. "With all due respect, Master Yoda, this plan is preposterous. Collaborating with a Sith Lord? He possesses the Book of the Sith, and his lineage is undoubtedly Sith. I've clashed with him directly. His ferocity and cunning are unparalleled. Even Master Depa Billaba was seduced into darkness by his influence. The recent attack in the Mordor district, using civilians as shields, was likely orchestrated by him." Master Yoda responded calmly, "The power of the Angel of Death, I sensed it more than a decade ago. It was chaotic, not purely dark. The true threat lies not in the Dawn Planet or the Western Territory, where the Angel of Death lurks, but in the heart of the Galactic Republic, under the grip of Darth Sidious. Only by eliminating Darth Sidious can we hope to address the threat of the Angel of Death and the Dawn Planet. If this is your final decision, I have no choice but to comply." Master Windu conceded, bowing deeply to Master Yoda before exiting the chamber without another word. Obi-Wan also bowed, saying, "I will prepare immediately to lead a reconnaissance team from the 212th Attack Battalion to planet Celia. Farewell." With that, he too left the chamber, ready to embark on a mission that could change the course of the war. Volume 2, Chapter 65, Teacher and Apprentice. Parting Obi-Wan Kenobi approached the Coruscant military district with a heavy heart, preparing to finalize arrangements for his 212th Attack Battalion before leading a reconnaissance team to the planet Celia. The planet was on the brink of its third civil war, and it was standard procedure for the Galactic Republic to intervene in such situations, especially when the planet was near the model sector. However, this mission was essentially a suicide mission. Celia, deeply entrenched within the control of the Dawn Planet, was strategically positioned on a hyperspace route that required passage through the heavily fortified planets of Golden Rock and Yagodur, planets the Republic's 20th Army had failed to breach for months. Given these circumstances, Obi-Wan Kenobi was deemed the most suitable candidate for this perilous mission. The fate of the accompanying scout team was grim. Their best-case scenario involved blending in with the civilian population, a slim possibility. More likely, they would be killed in the conflict or captured by the Separatists, who were known for conducting cruel experiments on clone troopers to unlock the secrets of their creation. For Obi-Wan, however, this mission was just the beginning of a much larger confrontation. He was to meet with the Sith Lord who had deceived the Galactic Republic for over a decade, secretly amassing power. This meeting could determine the future of the Galactic Republic and the fate of the Jedi Order. Lost in thought, Obi-Wan was startled by a familiar, cheerful voice. "Obi-Wan, what brings you here?" It was Anakin Skywalker, with his apprentice Ahsoka Tano standing behind him. Obi-Wan realized he had inadvertently wandered into the logistics department of the 501st Legion, guided subconsciously by the Force to avoid accidents. "I'm heading to the 212th Assault Camp," Obi-Wan replied, embracing Anakin. "What about you? What brings you here?" Anakin grinned. After General Grievous's defeat in the Antar system, he's been eager to penetrate the inner ring of the Republic again. He's assembled a fleet, apparently preparing to attack the defense lines of the Darun system. "That's a foolish move," Obi-Wan chuckled. "If he proceeds, we could potentially destroy half of the Separatists' mobile fleet in one fell swoop." "Exactly. So, Chancellor Palpatine suspects there's more to it. He's assigned me another mission, a raid on Geonosis," Anakin revealed. Upon hearing Palpatine's name, Obi-Wan's expression darkened. After a moment of silence, he asked, "Why did Chancellor Palpatine directly issue you an order?" Anakin, unfazed, explained, "The order went through the proper channels, issued by the Supreme Strategic Command. But yes, Palpatine did mention it during a meeting in his office a few days ago." Obi-Wan frowned, concern evident in his voice. "How close are you and Palpatine?" Anakin, puzzled by the question, replied naturally, "Well, he's been a mentor to me. Why do you ask?" The exchange between teacher and apprentice was tinged with unspoken worries and uncertainties about the future. As they parted ways, both were unaware of the pivotal roles they would play in the events to come, shaping the destiny of the galaxy. Ever since my arrival on Coruscant, Your Excellency the Speaker has been a great support to me, guiding me through those challenging times. Even beyond that, I believe maintaining a close relationship with him serves to strengthen the bond between the Jedi Order and the Council, which is undoubtedly beneficial, right, Obi-Wan? Anakin's tone shifted to one of inquiry as he concluded his statement. It was clear that there was no need for pretense. The nuances of one's tone, demeanor, and content were perceptible to the other party. At this juncture, denial would be futile. Obi-Wan Kenobi took a moment to carefully organize his thoughts before responding. Have you not noticed the significant shifts in Coruscant's political landscape recently? Isn't that to be expected? The Galactic Republic's political system is fraught with flaws, a sentiment Speaker Palpatine has often shared with me in confidence. He's expressed feeling hamstrung by the cumbersome bureaucracy that impedes the Republic's executive functions. In fact, before implementing any reform plans, the Speaker consults with me, though I seldom have any advice to offer, Anakin explained. I'm concerned that the Speaker's power seems to be expanding excessively. Given the emergency powers granted during these times, it's only natural. Once the war ends and separatism is quelled, things will revert to normal, Anakin countered, clearly having been reassured by Palpatine on this matter. Obi-Wan Kenobi offered a smile, deciding not to pursue the topic further. He shifted the conversation. I'm headed to planet Celia. Planet Celia? Why there? Anakin expressed surprise. It's under separatist control. A third civil war may be brewing on Celia, and I feel compelled to intervene. After all, my master, Qui-Gon Jinn, and I were involved in the previous 2 civil conflicts there, Obi-Wan reminisced, his tone tinged with secrecy. But the situation on Celia now is not what it was over a decade ago. This is a classified mission. You know you must keep this to yourself. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to report you for leaking sensitive information. Obi-Wan half-joked with a smile. All right, you win, Obi-Wan, Anakin conceded with a nod. After a moment's thought, he retrieved a small metal block from his pocket and handed it to Obi-Wan, saying earnestly, This is a trinket I crafted from a piece of battleship debris I found on the battlefield. It's a symbol of good luck from the junkyards of Tatooine. Obi-Wan examined the smoothly polished, intricately carved metal block in his hand and nodded solemnly. I will return, to save the Galactic Republic, to save the Jedi Order. Anakin chuckled at his determination, turning to Ahsoka. Look at him, Ahsoka. Obi-Wan's spirit is something we should all aspire to emulate, off on another mission to save the galaxy. Indeed, Master Obi-Wan, I wish you success in your galactic rescue, Ahsoka joined in the jest. Obi-Wan patted Anakin's shoulder, adding, Take care, and be wary. Your closeness to Palpatine might not bode well. With that, he turned and departed. Anakin, oblivious to the deeper emotions behind Obi-Wan's words, walked back into the barracks, sharing a laugh with a few clone troopers. Only Ahsoka Tano sensed an underlying tension, standing still with a thoughtful frown as she watched Obi-Wan Kenobi's figure recede into the distance. Volume 2, Chapter 66, The Political Landscape of Planet Celia. In the outer reaches of the Milky Way lies Planet Celia, a breathtaking world teeming with untouched natural beauty. Its landscapes are adorned with lush jungles and towering mountains, home to a myriad of rare animals that roam freely. The air, rich in oxygen, brings a sense of relaxation and joy to those who breathe it in. For centuries, the Syrians, the inhabitants of Celia, have staunchly opposed the use of technological products to shield their planet from the ravages of technological and industrial advancement. In this regard, they have succeeded. However, maintaining such a stance within the vast Galactic Republic, especially amidst the encroachment of major corporations, has proven to be a formidable challenge. Over a decade ago, a divisive debate over the adoption of technology led to 2 brutal civil wars on Celia. Dol Fermi Bummy, an elder who championed the integration of technology on Celia, emerged victorious with covert support from arms dealer Yuri Orlov and the enigmatic Fourth Civilization. He defeated his main rival, Elder Laden, seized control of the capital, Tekaf City, and ascended to the position of Great Elder, thereby assuming governance over the entire planet. In the aftermath of the conflict, Celia sought to foster cooperation with its neighboring planet, Dawn, primarily to facilitate the introduction of technology and industrial systems. However, this partnership has been cautious and exploratory. Despite Dol Fermi Bummy's pro-technology stance, he is aware that any policy that significantly harms the planet's environment could jeopardize his leadership. Moreover, Celia's industrial resources are relatively modest. While it boasts high-quality iron ore, such resources are deemed less valuable in an era where asteroids can be mined for metals. Thus, collaboration between Celia and Dawn has focused on two main areas: the Bonta Night Shuttle Racing Championship, where Celia offers a scenic, low-difficulty natural track, and a high-tech industrial park and processing plant. However, the Fourth Civilization has proceeded with caution, hesitant to deepen ties without a firm relationship. Celia's development continued steadily until the rise of separatism led by Count Dooku. Initially, Celia remained neutral, avoiding entanglement in the conflict. However, neutrality became untenable when the planet fell under the jurisdiction of the Republic's 19th Army. The Fourth Civilization initially paid little heed to Celia, but that changed dramatically when Planet Haven was captured and the 19th Army was decimated. Severance Tan dispatched Lin Nanyi and the main force of the Fourth Civilization's B Fleet to Celia. The arrival of their kilometer-long warships at Celia's spaceports, effectively blockading the planet, jolted Elder Dol Fermi Bummy from his dreams of neutrality. He promptly declared allegiance to the Confederation of Independent Systems and signed a treaty with Dawn Planet, making Celia a vassal of the Fourth Civilization. Despite the drastic shift, Elder Dol Fermi Bummy harbored no objections. His prior engagements with the Fourth Civilization and the Dead Angel meant he was somewhat prepared for this alliance. At Lin Nanyi's behest, he also consented to dispatch an expeditionary force from Celia to support the Fourth Civilization's endeavors, marking a new chapter in Celia's history amidst the galactic political landscape. In response to the escalating war, Elder Dol of planet Celia made a controversial decision to support the conflict with military aid. This decision sparked a divide among the planet's elders, with some holding firm to traditional values and a rejection of modern technology. They argued that Celia's involvement in the galactic civil war between the Galactic Republic and the Confederation of Independent Systems was directly due to Elder Dol's embrace of technological advancements. They believed that if Celia had remained in an era of primitive technology, it would have been overlooked by the warring Fev actions and spared from the conflict. This perspective gained traction, especially after the Republic fleet's raid on the model sector and the subsequent retreat and surrender of several planets. Concerned by the growing unrest, Elder Dol Fermi Bonmi urgently sought assistance from the Fourth Civilization, warning Tang Xiao of the potential for a third civil war on Celia. When Obi-Wan Kenobi arrived on Celia from Mandalore, he witnessed the aftermath of recent turmoil. The Solarian fleet, comprising 2 Doomsday battlecruisers and 10 Enforcer-class heavy destroyers, was stationed around the spaceport in Celia's outer orbit. Behind them, 5 A-shaped spaceships, each about 300 meters long with a flat design, were positioned not as frontline battleships, but seemingly for another purpose. Numerous drones buzzed around what appeared to be a drone mothership. The spaceport was still in chaos, with flames and thick smoke rising into the void. Drones from the A-shaped ships were actively extinguishing fires with foam. The debris of at least 20 small spacecraft floated nearby, along with the twisted remains of several Syrians, indicating a recent armed uprising that the Solarian fleet had swiftly quelled. Upon disembarking from the passenger spaceship, Obi-Wan noticed a significant presence of Knoll soldiers patrolling the spaceport hall. At the exit, a team of Solarian soldiers was verifying the identities of all individuals entering and leaving. Obi-Wan, along with his clone scouts disguised through cosmetic makeup, approached the checkpoint. He handed his forged identification to a Solarian soldier and subtly used a mind trick, causing the soldier to briefly enter a trance before returning the identification and allowing them to pass, confirming the verification was correct. Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter, UAV Mothership Dominator Class. Volume 2, Chapter Then 67, Subtle Changes. In the bustling capital city of Tekaf on the planet Celia, the administrative heart of the world, Elder Dole Fermi Bummy expressed his gratitude through a holographic communication. Thank you very much for your assistance, Your Excellency Governor. I hereby express my utmost respect to you, he said humbly to Tang Xiao. As long as you adhere to my strategy, Celia will remain secure. Tang Xiao responded with a calm demeanor. Dole Fermi Bummy quickly replied, I have been diligently following your plan, yet there has been no word from Coruscant. Moreover, despite my position as the Great Elder, there are many who question my leadership. The Jedi Master of the Syrians, Kiadi Mundi, is the root of this issue. I've explained this to you multiple times, Tang Xiao stated. Therefore, our plan must begin with him. I understand, Dole Fermi Bummy nodded, committing to continue his efforts. Tang Xiao reassured him. A thriving civilization isn't solely defined by its military and industrial capabilities. There's no need for panic, Elder Dole. Given Celia's lack of industrial infrastructure, I wouldn't impose such demands. Focus on what's best for your planet. With a wave of his hand, Tang Xiao ended the communication, leaving Dole Fermi Bummy with a contemplative expression. He gazed towards the sky, in the direction of the Celia planet spaceport, now occupied by the Solarian fleet. Reflecting on the civil war that had concluded over a decade ago, he remembered how he had maintained his dignity in dealings with both Tang Xiao and the Angel of Death, showcasing his stature as the planet's great elder. However, facing the rapidly advancing Fourth Civilization, he found himself striving to merely survive in Tang Xiao's presence. Over 10 years ago, the Fourth Civilization's contribution to Celia's civil war consisted of outdated firearms, lacking even armored vehicles. Now, with a mere gesture, Tang Xiao had deployed a formidable fleet of warships, the likes of which Dole Fermi Bummy had never seen, effortlessly crushing the insurgent spacecraft. Against such power, the elder dared not even breathe too loudly. He instructed his aide to organize a dinner, extending invitations to the commander of the Solarian fleet and, as was customary, to the families of Madame Xia and Madame Mawin. The arrival of the Solarian fleet swiftly quelled the unrest on Celia. For a planet that had only recently embarked on the path of technological development, the presence of such a formidable force left no room for resistance. The ragtag fleet assembled by the rebellious elders was decimated within minutes by the Solarian armada. Consequently, the once defiant elders became docile and agreeable, their demeanor transforming overnight. At the banquet, they lavished praise on the Solarian commander, with one elder even jesting about his daughter's infatuation. They emphasized their peaceful lives and mundane hobbies, such as gardening, in an attempt to distance themselves from any martial inclinations. Elder Dole Fermi Bummy, however, paid little attention to these overtures of reconciliation. Instead, he took a glass of wine and approached a group at the banquet's periphery, consisting of several middle-aged and elderly women, along with 6 young men, the eldest of whom were around 17 or 18 years old. His focus was clear: to engage with those who truly mattered in the grand scheme of Celia's future. Surrounded by his 3 wives, Elder Dole proclaimed, "Under the Dai family's leadership, Celia has once again weathered the storm. The planet's avoidance of civil war is a testament to your significant contributions." An elderly Syrian woman, around 70 years old, responded with indifference. "Elder Dole, the resolution of this civil war crisis was due to the Solarian fleet and the power of Dawn Planet. It has nothing to do with us." Before Elder Dole could reply, a Syrian woman in her 40s countered, "Mrs. Xia, that's not entirely accurate. While the Solarian fleet is indeed formidable, a powerful fleet alone cannot mend a divided planet. What truly united us was the spirit of our husband, Jedi Master Kiadi Mundi." Mrs. Xia, who had spoken first, was dressed in simple attire. In contrast, the younger woman, who was the most elegantly dressed among them, stood up, approached Elder Dole gracefully, raised her glass, and said, "I am deeply grateful that you continue to uphold our husband's legacy on Celia, especially during such a galactic crisis. It's his spirit that has united the Celians. I believe he was right in his beliefs." "You flatter me, Mrs. Ma Wen. I am merely doing my duty," Elder Dole replied modestly. Master Ki-Adi-Mundi is the person I admire the most in my life, and I eagerly await his return. Humph! The first thing Mundi would do upon his return is to remove you from your position as the Great Elder. I don't recall you being officially appointed by Mundi, Xia scoffed. Alas, perhaps my brother Mundi is no longer with us, murmured another elderly lady, the oldest among them, who appeared to be in her 80s. She seemed frail, and two women in their 50s and 60s quickly attended to her, wiping soup from the corner of her mouth. Elder Dole, seasoned in political maneuvering, chose to ignore Xia's ridicule and turned to the 6 teenagers with a smile. Ah, the children of Master Dai. You are growing up healthy, and Celia's future will also depend on your contributions. He then addressed Mrs. Ma Wen. There may be some changes in the Council of Elders on Celia soon, which will lead to several vacancies. I believe it's time for Master Dai's sons and daughters to step into the roles that rightfully belong to them, taking the future of Celia into their hands. Dream on, Xia exclaimed. Mundi's sons and daughters will never engage in politics. Our eldest daughter, Sylvan, was assassinated in the last civil war because of such involvement. At that moment, one of the plump teenagers loudly bit into a piece of meat and declared, "But if we don't work, we won't get to enjoy such delicious food. Besides, everyone likes us and is waiting for us to take on these roles." Elder Dole's face lit up with a bright smile, seeing an opportunity in the young boy's enthusiasm. "Dear little buddy, how would you like to manage the Food Supervision Department? The quality of food and drink on our entire planet could be under your watch. You could ensure everyone gets the best food, right?" "That's right, I'm the best at eating," the young boy exclaimed joyfully. Elder Dole laughed heartily. "Your father, Master Ki-Adi-Mundi, would be proud of you." Yet there was a noticeable lack of warmth in his eyes at that moment. Vol 2, Chapter 1068, Plans for Cornhead. Madame Xia was fuming with anger, her voice sharp as she scolded. "What time is it? All you know is what to eat." She was on the verge of striking the little chubby boy in her ire. However, Mrs. Ma Wen intervened, standing protectively in front of the boy. Though Buddy may still be naive, he at least understands the importance of self-reliance and contributes his strength to our planet Celia. And you, madam, aside from basking in the glory of being Master Mundi's wife, what have you done for Celia? Without waiting for a response, she turned to address Elder Dole Fermi Bonmi. It's heartening to see Master Mundi's children stepping forward to contribute to Celia. However, it's clear that Buddy's character needs further development and discipline. Elder Dole Fermi Bonmi chuckled in agreement, patting the shoulder of a tall, 20-year-old Celia woman standing nearby. Indeed, Buddy requires more experience, but our Miss Shilton is more than ready, he declared. Shilton, the second daughter of Master Ki-Adi-Mundi, had grown into a courageous warrior over the years. She acknowledged the elder's compliment with a simple nod, her expression stoic. Shilton will join the Planetary Defense Department of Celia next month. She'll serve in the Staff Department and also captain a frigate in the Orbital Defense Force. Truly young and promising, Elder Dole said, his laughter echoing in the room. "I will continue my father's legacy and protect planet Celia," Shilton responded, her tone serious. Elder Dole Fermi Bonmi nodded, pleased. "Exactly. This aligns with the plan Tang Xiao proposed, leveraging Master Ki-Adi-Mundi's profound influence on Celia by involving his family. Before Master Ki-Adi-Mundi's self-imposed isolation, he had kept his family away from the public eye to avoid any suspicion. The allowance for him to marry and have children as a Jedi Knight was not a privilege but a special permission granted by Master Yoda. This was due to Celia's rejection of technological products, leading to a challenging life, low birth rates, and survival rates for infants. Polygamy was adopted on Celia to ensure labor and battle contributions and to increase the population. Master Yoda allowed Ki-Adi-Mundi to marry and have children in respect of this tradition. After his children were born, Ki-Adi-Mundi cared for them briefly before leaving to prevent deep attachments that could hinder his Force practice. He supported his family with the modest allowances from the Jedi Order. He had 4 wives, with Xia and Ma Wen being the most assertive. His family included 7 children, from his eldest daughter Sylvan and second daughter Hilton to his youngest son Buddy and an older sister Dora. Over the years, Ki-Adi-Mundi dedicated himself to the Jedi Order, resolving many crises and aiding Celia. Despite maintaining a distance from his family, his esteemed reputation significantly influenced them. To avoid suspicion, he insisted his family members refrain from holding significant positions and maintain a low profile. However, remaining completely inconspicuous was challenging. During the last civil war on Celia, Sylvan, Master Mundi's eldest daughter, joined the conflict, hoping to leverage her influence to end it. Unfortunately, her involvement had the opposite effect. Sylvan became a pawn for politicians, leading to her assassination. Following this tragedy, other family members were also kidnapped, highlighting the dangers and complexities of their situation. After being rescued, Master Mundi was left disheartened. His connection to the Force had been tainted, leading him to the dark side. To prevent further damage, he confined himself to the basement of the Jedi Order. This incident deeply influenced Mundi's family, particularly his first wife, Shia. She embraced his ambitions, staunchly opposing the technological advancement on their home planet, Celia, in favor of preserving its natural ecology. She also insisted that their family abstain from holding any significant positions on the Ye planet, advocating a simple life of farming instead. However, this ideal was personal to her. Mowen, Mundi's fourth wife, had aspirations that starkly contrasted with Shia's. She yearned for a life of nobility and luxury, far removed from the humble existence of tilling fields and weaving in a thatched hut. Similarly, their 6 children were eager to explore and showcase their talents during the prime years of their lives, rather than spend them in agricultural toil. They found it unreasonable to adhere to the directives of Master Mundi, who had been absent for over a decade and shrouded in mystery. Darth Plagueis had noticed the shadow over Ki-Adi-Mundi more than 10 years prior. However, due to the impending actions of the Trade Federation on Naboo at the time, he only mentioned it in passing to Darth Marthoal without taking any action. It was only later that Tang Xiao began to devise a plan, leveraging Ki-Adi-Mundi's esteemed reputation on Celia to manipulate his family. An elder named Dola Femi Bonmi watched as Xia and Ma Wen, the first and fourth wives of the Mundi family, engaged in yet another argument. A barely noticeable sneer formed on his lips, hinting at deeper schemes at play. On July 12, 21 BBY, General Grievous, the supreme military commander of the Confederation of Independent Systems, refused to be deterred by a previous setback in the Antar galaxy. He rallied his forces once more, setting his sights on the transportation hub of the Galactic Republic's inner ring, the Daron Galaxy. This area was known as the Republic's strongest line of defense. Many military experts of the Galactic Republic viewed Grievous's plan as a foolhardy suicide mission. Nevertheless, Grievous proceeded with determination. Over 200-kilometer-class warships launched a massive assault on the planet Daron. In response, the Galactic Republic's defenders executed a well-organized counterattack as per their strategic plan. Meanwhile, Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker led the 501st Legion Torrent Company on a successful covert mission to the planet Geonosis. There, the Techno-Union was secretly developing a formidable ground combat vehicle, tentatively named the Super Tank. The design was still in its prototype phase, making it a prime target for sabotage. Despite the presence of Count Dooku's dark acolyte, Asajj Ventress, on Geonosis, Anakin's mission was a triumph. He managed to destroy both the prototype and the production line of the super tank, preventing it from joining the war effort in time. Vol 2, Chapter 1069, Raid on Kamino. The Galactic Republic Supreme Strategic Command had just begun celebrating the massive annihilation of the Separatist fleet on Daron and the success of Anakin Skywalker's mission to destroy the super tank production line on Geonosis. However, their joy was short-lived as another piece of news arrived, dousing their spirits like a bucket of ice water. The production base of the clone troopers, Planet Kamino, was under attack. At that moment on Planet Kamino, the sound of gunfire echoed crisply through the air. More than a dozen clone troopers, still in their training suits, fell to the ground, each with a bullet hole precisely placed between their eyebrows, killing them instantly. The gunfire, though brief, was rapid and deadly accurate. "They're in the building opposite. Kill them!" shouted one of the clone troopers. Most of these troopers had not yet completed their training and were initially stunned by the sudden raid. However, the combat instincts ingrained in their minds spurred them into action, and they began to organize a counterattack. But what awaited them was a ruthless slaughter. The clone troopers couldn't even see where their enemies were. The intruders moved with incredible speed and cunning, their marksmanship unerringly precise. Witnesses reported seeing one of the attackers moving at speeds exceeding 80 kilometers per hour, evading all return fire before diving into the sea without a trace. In a fit of rage, a particularly large clone trooper wielding a 6-barrel blaster machine gun opened fire on the building across from them. But in the next second, he was shot in the temple, his head exploding in a gruesome display. When did they move to the right? Quick! Reorganize the defense! The troopers yelled amidst the chaos. But then, suddenly, the entire building went dark. "Damn, they've cut the power!" someone shouted, just before another series of rapid gunshots rang out, and clone soldiers, blinded in the darkness, fell in droves. Meanwhile, in the control center of the clone factory on Kamino, a Kaminoan approached Jedi Master Shaak Ti, who was stationed on the planet. "Master Shaak Ti, the invaders have caused extreme chaos near the factory, and we are powerless to stop them," he reported. Shaak Ti's face, marked by distinctive patterns, was grave. "Send the ARC training team of clones to the energy center to ensure the core energy supply of the factory is maintained. Then deploy defenses in key areas. We must prevent the chaos from spreading until we understand the intruder's true purpose," she instructed. "I regret to inform you that the clone ARC training team was defeated half an hour ago," the Kaminoan replied. Shaak Ti frowned, puzzled. "The ARC training team is responsible for the advanced training of the ARC troops and serves as a mock battle opponent. They are among the most skilled clone troops on Kamino. How were they defeated so quickly?" The Kaminoan lowered his head. At the beginning of the invasion, Prime Minister Lama Su ordered a resolute counterattack, deploying 5,000 troops, including the ARC training team, to the port area. Then, the port area collapsed, and most of it sank into the sea, along with the buildings. Shaak Ti shook her head, sighing at the impulsive decision. "We didn't even know who the invaders were, and yet we deployed our best troops. However, this indicates that our enemy possesses significant power, possibly based in the sea." She knew that now was not the time for recriminations. Despite her frustration with Prime Minister Lama Su's unauthorized counterattack, which led to the loss of their best troops in a trap, the priority was to secure the clone factory. With 150,000 adult soldiers in the factory, the stakes were incredibly high. The Galactic Republic faced a dire threat with the potential destruction of 800,000 underage soldiers of various ages and 40 million cloned human embryos. Such a loss would severely cripple the Republic's war capabilities, forcing it to rely on human conscripts to combat the relentless droid army of the Separatists. Against the overwhelming metallic onslaught of the droid forces, ordinary humans would struggle to even defend themselves, let alone mount a counteroffensive. This situation would necessitate the Republic to deploy vastly greater resources on the battlefield to maintain the front lines previously held by clone soldiers. Master Shaak Ti found herself pondering the events of the previous day. A fleet of over a dozen Generosity-class communication frigates had unexpectedly breached the Kamino system, aiming to bombard the planet Kamino. However, the Galactic Republic had long stationed a formidable fleet at Kamino, including 2 Governor-class battleships, rendering the dozen frigates significantly outmatched. Despite this, a fierce aerial battle ensued above Kamino as the Separatist frigates attempted to penetrate the planet's atmosphere and execute an orbital bombardment. The Republic fleet engaged the Separatist ships with relentless firepower, causing the enemy vessels to disintegrate and plummet to Kamino, their wreckage raining down upon the planet. With the destruction of the Separatist fleet, it seemed the threat was neutralized. Yet, Kamino found itself under a mysterious attack from beneath the sea just a day later. Master Shaak Ti, still puzzled by the turn of events, urgently instructed the Kaminoans, send a distress signal to the Galactic Republic immediately and make it the highest priority. The highest priority? Does that mean? The Kaminoans hesitated, concern evident in their voices. It means that if we don't act swiftly, we risk losing planet Camino, Shakti stated gravely. Amidst the chaos, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed as an ATTE walker, its 6 legs secured by electromagnets to a metal disc-shaped structure, took position. The walker's heavy howitzer roared to life, launching powerful grenades at the enemy's locations. Buildings crumbled under the intense bombardment. Suddenly, a voice, awkward in its use of the galactic basic language, emerged from behind a clone soldier manning the howitzer. In the midst of the pouring rain, a barely visible humanoid silhouette with glowing red eyes appeared, adding an eerie presence to the battlefield. Vol 2, Chapter 1070, Battle of Camino, Part 1. With a crisp click, the clone trooper manning the ATE howitzer suddenly twisted his head 180 degrees and plummeted from the walker. In his place emerged an invisible specter, a towering figure with thick dreadlocks and a muscular build. Gabriel Tosh, a ghost operative. Sporting a mischievous grin, he effortlessly opened the hatch and slipped inside. Moments later, the ATTE veered off its path, staggering like a drunken behemoth before crashing into a nearby building. The impact triggered a massive explosion, tearing a gaping hole in the mushroom-shaped structure as flames and smoke surged into the sky. Gabriel Tosh, having already made his escape, wielded his AGR-14 electromagnetic rifle with deadly precision. Like the Grim Reaper, he methodically eliminated every clone trooper that entered his line of sight. The Caminoan clone factory was plunged into utter chaos. The invisible assailants' relentless attacks left the untrained clone soldiers in disarray, scrambling aimlessly like headless chickens. Despite the havoc, the invading force was notably small. Many buildings in the vicinity of the clone factory had lost power or were rigged with explosives, leading the clone army in a futile chase. Yet, surprisingly, the chaos had resulted in relatively few casualties, a stark contrast to the expected numbers given the scale of the disruption. Amidst the turmoil, Shakti, the Jedi Master stationed on Camino, raced towards the battlefield, lightsaber in hand. She encountered a group of clone troopers fleeing in panic. "Where are you running? Where are the enemies?" Shakti demanded. The troopers snapped to attention upon seeing the Jedi Master, reporting that they had been ambushed and were seeking vengeance for fallen comrades. Shakti surveyed the area, finding no sign of the enemy. "Follow me," she commanded, and the troopers complied. As they moved, Shakti inquired about the attackers. The troopers' descriptions varied wildly, from demons with 2 horns to beings with fiery eyes, or even half-human, half-fish creatures that moved through water. With no clear lead, Shakti pressed on with her squad. Suddenly, Shakti sensed an imminent threat. With lightning-fast reflexes, she activated her lightsaber, melting dozens of incoming bullets mid-air. "Enemy attack! Where is it?" the troopers cried out. "Over there!" Shakti pointed, dashing towards the source of the gunfire. She was met with a barrage of bullets from all directions. Despite her efforts to deflect them with her lightsaber, the attackers scattered, making it difficult to pinpoint their location. Their marksmanship was exceptional. Even in retreat, their shots were precisely aimed, demonstrating remarkable control and experience in combating Jedi. As Shakti pursued the attackers, her instincts warned her of a grave danger lurking beneath her feet. Without hesitation, she leaped back, pulling 2 clone troopers with her to safety. The battlefield was fraught with peril, but Shakti's resolve only hardened. She knew that overcoming this invisible enemy would require all her skill and cunning. The next moment, a thunderous roar erupted as a colossal entity burst forth from the ocean depths. 4 metallic tentacles, each spanning tens of meters, flexed with astonishing agility. In mere seconds, they severed the cantilevered corridor where Shakti and her companions stood. Then, 2 additional leviathans surged forward, ensnaring the disc-shaped structure and dragging it down to the seabed. The clone troopers who had accompanied Shakti, save for a few who had lagged behind and 2 who had been propelled backward by her, charged forward only to plummet into the ocean, their screams piercing the air. For the first time, Shakti could see clearly. The 3 monstrous machines that had emerged from the depths were Separatist Trident-class amphibious assault ships, their triangular bodies and flexible mechanical tentacles unmistakable. But there were more than 3. Dozens of these Trident-class ships, Denli appeared from the seabed around the clone factory zone. They began slicing through the exteriors and joints of the buildings, dragging each unsupported structure down into the abyss. The air was filled with screams, explosions, and chaos as clone troopers scrambled in panic. Yet, their movements were not random. The mysterious invaders had been herding them toward the buildings at the edge, where the Trident-class ships lay in wait to strike simultaneously. Without firing a single shot, the tempestuous waves of planet Kamino would claim the lives of the clone soldiers. Cursed be! This was a planned attack. Shakti exclaimed through the comlink, her voice laced with fury. Alert the troops. Tighten our defenses. Stay away from the sea. Command the fleet above to dispatch fighter jets for reinforcement immediately. In that moment, Shakti noticed survivors in a partially destroyed building, among them Kaminoans and clone troopers, desperately signaling for help. The connecting corridor had been destroyed, rendering them unreachable, and all Shakti could do was watch the structure gradually succumb to its inevitable collapse. Without a second thought, Shakti leaped into action. She grabbed a Kamino technician and hurled him to safety, repeating the action for a second, then a third. After rescuing 9 individuals, the building could no longer withstand the strain. It groaned under the stress of metal against metal before collapsing into the sea, taking the remaining screams with it. A sharp sense of urgency pricked at Shakti's heart, urging her to leap back towards safety. But as she ascended, a volley of gunfire from multiple directions targeted her. The intruders. They had been lying in wait, choosing not to attack the Kaminoans or clone troopers directly. Instead, they seized the moment Shakti was most vulnerable to launch their ambush. Caught off guard and unable to maneuver in midair, Shakti was struck by a bullet and plummeted towards the churning sea below, her grunt lost in the wind and waves. Attachment 1 of the Easter Egg Chapter, Master Shakti. Volume 2, Chapter 1071, The Battle of Kamino, Part 2. The ocean planet of Kamino is besieged by storms throughout the year. Its only safe havens are the unique structures built by the Kaminoans, resembling metallic discs perched atop the sea like colossal mushrooms. Amidst the tempest, a bolt of lightning cleaved the sky, its thunderous roar echoing across the waters. In the brief illumination, a figure was visible, dangling precariously from the underside of one of these metallic discs. It was Master Shakti. Despite the steady flow of blood from a wound at her waist, she clung to the slick metal surface with the force, her mastery and control preventing her from being swallowed by the churning seas below. With great effort, Shakti inched her way back to the edge of the structure, pulling herself up to safety. The battle had raged on for half an hour now, spreading deeper into the heart of Kamino. From her vantage point, she could see the conflict engulfing Tipoca City, the capital near the clone factory area. Trident-class amphibious assault ships wreaked havoc, while swarms of B-1 and B-2 battle droids poured out, intensifying the chaos. Amidst the turmoil, Shakti noticed sinister shapes darting through the water, their red electronic eyes piercing the darkness. These were the AQ series underwater combat droids, adding a layer of horror to the battlefield. The separatist forces, though fewer in number, were elite and well-prepared. They had disrupted Kamino's defenses with precision strikes, using the Trident-class ships to sow chaos and deploy their droid armies directly into the city's core. The AQ droids and the amphibious ships, agile in the depths, quickly overwhelmed the defenses near Tipoca City and the clone factories. The Kaminoans, not naturally adept at underwater living, found themselves at a disadvantage. Their planet, originally not an ocean world, had transformed due to geological shifts and the melting of glaciers over 19,000 years ago. Adapting to their new environment, the Kaminoans built their floating cities and continued their civilization through cloning technology, leaving them ill-prepared for an underwater assault. After tending to her wound, Shakti hastened towards the factory area. Republic fighter squadrons dove through the skies, engaging the droid forces in fierce combat. The air was thick with the chaos of war. Suddenly, a familiar, sharp gunshot rang out. This time, Shakti was on her own, her force abilities fully unleashed. Her blue lightsaber whirled, deflecting bullets with ease as she moved like a phantom through the battlefield. The mysterious elite soldiers, faced with her speed and prowess, retreated. But Shakti was quicker, her lightsaber arcing through the air in a brilliant blue crescent, cutting down 2 of the assailants. As the remaining enemies fled, showcasing their formidable physical and psychological training, Shakti approached the fallen. To her surprise, both were Salarians. In the midst of the galactic conflict, the Salarians emerged as a formidable new race aligning with the Separatists. Despite their sparse numbers, they quickly became notorious within the Republic's intelligence circles. The sight of Salarian soldiers, clad in full coverage helmets designed to accommodate their distinctive tentacles, gave them an almost demonic appearance from afar. Their helmets, mimicking the look of fearsome double horns, along with their large goggled eyes, struck terror into the hearts of clone troopers who encountered them. Yet it was their exceptional combat prowess that truly set them apart, surpassing even the Republic's elite ARC troopers. This revelation left no doubt that the havoc wreaked on the planet Kamino was the work of the infamous Salarian Special Service, the galaxy's most elite special forces. Their deployment signaled a desperate situation. The Republic must hold out for reinforcements, for the Separatists were determined to win at all costs. Amidst the chaos, a bullet flew towards Jedi Master Shakti, who skillfully sliced it in half with her lightsaber. Suddenly, a transparent figure materialized before her. "Ah, another Jedi Knight. To think you could face our special forces, you are no ordinary Jedi," a distorted voice taunted. A powerful psychic force then surged towards her, a force so potent it could induce instant brain death in any ordinary being. Master Shakti, despite using the force to shield herself, felt the impact aggravate her injuries, causing her to bleed anew. Clenching her teeth, she recognized her adversary. "You are the invisible assassin from Coruscant, wielding the Force in an entirely unfamiliar manner." "I prefer the term psionic power," Gabriel Tosh retorted with a grin, unleashing a barrage of gunfire. While Master Shakti engaged in a fierce duel with Gabriel Tosh, the Separatist droid army breached the final defenses of the Kamino clone factories. Swarms of droids invaded, mercilessly slaughtering the young clones, whose ages ranged from 5 to 18 years. These clones, still in the midst of accelerated growth and knowledge implantation, were defenseless against the onslaught, leading to a massacre within the facility. The droids also sought to seize the clones' technical and DNA data from the mainframe of the Poker clone factory. By comparing these with the DNA of Jango Fett, who was under Separatist control, they aimed to reverse engineer the Kaminoans' cloning modifications. This could potentially allow them to unravel the secrets of Kaminoan cloning technology and, more alarmingly, develop gene-targeted bombs capable of eliminating clones on the battlefield without harming others. In a desperate bid to protect the mainframe, the Kaminoans and Republic defenders mounted a valiant defense. They even abandoned the defense of Tipoca City, focusing all their efforts on thwarting the Separatists' advance towards the factory's core. Intense beams of energy blasted through the air, accompanied by a cacophony of explosions. On the outskirts of the Kaminoan clone factory, a relentless assault was underway. Countless robots, fearless in the face of death, launched a relentless attack against the clone soldiers of the Galactic Republic. Despite their numbers, the clone soldiers, mostly inexperienced recruits, yet to complete their training, struggled to hold the line. Above, the fighter formations of the Galactic Republic waged their own battle, dropping bombs on the robotic foes below with limited success. The city buildings of planet Kamino, with their distinctive disc-shaped, fully enclosed design, hosted many indoor battles. The ongoing powerful storm further complicated the situation, limiting the effectiveness and duration of the fighter group's engagement. The storm had already claimed over 200 fighter jets, not including those lost to enemy fire. Amidst this fierce conflict, alarming news emerged. The Salarian Special Forces had appeared in the center of Tipoca City, targeting Prime Minister Ramassu. "Not good. The Separatists are after Prime Minister Ramassu," exclaimed Cody, the clone commander of the 212th Attack Battalion. With Obi-Wan Kenobi and a team of scouts on a mission to planet Celia, Cody and the 212th had been redeployed to Kamino just in time to respond to the attack. "We no longer have the strength to reinforce Tipoca City," declared another clone commander, known as Lightning, Blitz, his frustration evident as he punched the bunker wall in despair. On the front lines, the situation was dire. Many clone troopers, lacking helmets and equipped only with basic combat uniforms, faced the enemy's relentless onslaught. The absence of standard combat armor made them vulnerable, contributing to their heavy casualties. The advancing robots, unleashing a barrage of blasting beams and rockets, overwhelmed the clone soldiers, who had limited fire support from a few ATRT and ATTE walkers. The indoor environment restricted the effectiveness of these armored units, and the mysterious destruction of several ATTE walkers, presumably by separatist forces, only added to their challenges. Meanwhile, in downtown Tipoca, the Kaminoan administration was evacuating. Prime Minister Ramassu, escorted by a clone troop, hurried to a dedicated port, hoping to escape aboard a spaceship. Leading the clone army was a Zabrak female Jedi Knight, Maris Brood, apprenticed to Master Shak Ti. Unlike typical Zabraks, her fair complexion and lack of traditional tattoos gave her an exotic beauty even among humans. Maris Brood glanced at Ramassu with disdain and coldly warned, "You're quick to flee, Your Excellency. But be aware, the enemy special forces can strike from any direction." Ramassu's expression faltered, but he replied, "I sincerely hope you can ensure my safety, Jedi Knight. The future of clone soldier production depends on it." In the heart of the Galactic Republic, tension was palpable. Maris Bruder, with a sneer, barely concealed her contempt. "Otherwise, why do you think you're still breathing?" Her mockery was cut short as she sensed an ominous shift in the atmosphere. "Prepare for battle. They're upon us," she commanded in a grave tone. Suddenly, gunfire erupted from multiple directions, a rapid succession of shots that took everyone by surprise. Maris was quick to react, her lightsaber flashing as she deflected the bullets aimed at Ramassu. The clone soldiers around them weren't as fortunate. Several fell, struck down by precise shots to the head. Despite their robust armor, the helmets, laden with sensors, communicators, and respirators, proved to be their Achilles' heel. "Contract our defenses, stay in formation, and retreat to the Prime Minister's office," Maris ordered, her lightsaber a blur as she protected Ramassu. Ramassu, ever pragmatic, suggested, "Perhaps we should expedite our retreat." "If you're in such a hurry, feel free to leave," Maris retorted without missing a beat. "But remember, we're up against the Solarian special foe, RCs. It's unlikely they've limited their ambush to just the spaceport." "Given the circumstances, I'll heed your advice," Ramassu replied, maintaining his composure. "However, I must remind you, should I fall, the future of Kamino's clone trooper production could be in jeopardy. The new Prime Minister may not be as inclined to continue such a high-risk project." Kaminoans, known for their stoicism, rarely showed emotion, even in the face of dire situations. "Focus on surviving, then," Maris snapped, leading the clone troopers in a strategic retreat towards the Prime Minister's office. It was their best chance at survival. Meanwhile, the sky was marred by the sight of a Cheer-class assault landing ship, its hull battered and smoking from recent combat. A holographic projection of Jedi Master Pro Kong appeared simultaneously to Commanders Maris Bruder, Cody, and Lightning, outlining the urgent situation. "The secessionist fleet has launched another assault on our forces orbiting Kamino. We must quickly neutralize the separatist ground forces and disrupt their plans, forcing their fleet to retreat," Master Pro Kong declared. He then requested a status report. Commander Cody reported heavy attacks on the clone factory by the separatist droid army, while Maris Bruder detailed the dire situation at the Prime Minister's office in Tipoca, with fewer than 500 clone troopers remaining. Master Pro Kong pondered the situation. "Our forces are stretched thin, as are the separatists. They cannot achieve both objectives simultaneously." Prime Minister Ramassu suggested prioritizing the defense of the Prime Minister's office, noting the strategic value of the clone factory's resources. Clone Commander Cody, outraged by the suggestion, was quickly calmed by Lightning, who was well acquainted with the Kaminoans' detached demeanor. "If we must choose, then prioritizing reinforcements to the Prime Minister's office is indeed the wiser strategy," Lightning concluded, understanding the gravity of the choices before them. Despite the Kaminoans' indifferent nature, their decisions are always driven by pure rationality. Amidst the discussion, the situation took a sudden turn when several light blue projectiles were launched from the ground, striking the shield of the Cheer-class assault landing ship with such force that its already weakened deflector shield shattered instantly. "It's the Separatist proton cannon. We're under attack!" exclaimed the clone commander aboard the Cheer-class. Plo Koon, taken aback, immediately sprang into action, heading towards the hangar platform. "Stabilize the spaceship and make an emergency landing near Topoka City at sea level. I'll lead a squadron of fighter jets to destroy that proton cannon," he commanded. Meanwhile, in the orbit of planet Kamino, the Galactic Republic's battleship formation was locked in a fierce battle with a newly arrived fleet from the Separatists. This time, the Separatist fleet boasted an impressive lineup: 15 Behemoth-class battlecruisers, 5 Sova-class aircraft carriers, and 5 Masha-class missile cruisers. This marked a significant upgrade in the Separatist fleet, showcasing their latest generation of warships. Aboard the Republic's flagship, a Governor-class battleship, Admiral Wolf Yularen was calmly issuing commands. However, he quickly realized that his ship was outmatched by the new Separatist battleships. The Behemoth-class battlecruisers, armed with the formidable Yamato cannon, were unleashing devastating attacks. The Yamato cannon, a plasma-based weapon occupying nearly half the length of the Behemoth-class hull, offered superior stability and accuracy compared to the electromagnetic guns of the older Cole class. The relentless assault from these cannons brought the shields of Admiral Yularen's Governor-class battleship to a critically low level. Despite the dire situation, Admiral Yularen remained resolute. He understood that the Separatists' main fleet was still engaged in the Darun system, leaving them with no additional fleets to deploy. On the other hand, Galactic Republic had reinforcements on the way, providing a glimmer of hope. It's important to note that the Kamino galaxy is not located within the Milky Way galaxy. Instead, it is part of the Rishi Maze, one of 7 satellite dwarf galaxies orbiting the Milky Way. Dwarf galaxies are small star systems with an absolute magnitude ranging from -8 to 16 and a visual distance of less than 50,000 parsecs. Satellite dwarf galaxies, like the Kamino galaxy, have their own orbits but are influenced by the gravity of larger galaxies revolving around them. The Kamino galaxy, situated in the Rishi Maze, is named after the Rishi planet, the starting point of the hyperspace route leading to it. To reach Kamino, one must navigate a long and complex hyperspace journey from Rishi planet, located 70,000 light-years from the Milky Way's core. This explains why Kamino is not typically found on standard Star Wars star maps. If it is mentioned, it is often inaccurately placed near the Rishi planet, despite being much farther away. The planet Rishi, situated tens of thousands of light-years away, lies in the southwest corner of the Milky Way's expansive star map, right on the fringe of Hutt space. The political landscape here is notably complex, further complicated by the ongoing fierce rivalry between 2 Hutt families, the Desaligic and the Bisadi. Amidst their power struggle, both the Galactic Republic and the Confederation of Independent Systems are maneuvering to gain favor with the Hutts, aiming to secure safe passage for their fleets through Hutt territory. Consequently, from planet Rishi to planet Kamino, the route is open for both factions, making it virtually impossible for either side to establish blockades to hinder the other's movements. Since the commencement of hostilities in the Kaminoan system, Wolf Uralan has been adamant about halting the Separatists' aggressive advance until reinforcements could arrive. Amidst this tense backdrop, a dramatic turn of events unfolded on the battlefield of planet Kamino. Without warning, more than a dozen amphibious spaceships, each measuring approximately 20 to 30 meters in length and slightly larger than standard fighter jets, emerged from the depths of Kamino's oceans. These vessels, characterized by their round shape, are renowned creations from the planet Mon Calamari. As these spaceships breached the ocean's surface, they launched an assault on the clone trooper defenses positioned around the factory area. After bombarding the defenses, the ships made landfall, and their hatches swung open. From within, hundreds of BX Special Combat droids swiftly disembarked. Leading the charge was none other than General Grievous himself. Attachment 1 of the Easter Egg Chapter, Mon Calamari Amphibious Combat Ship. Vol 2, Chapter 73, Unexpected Swish. The blue sword light swept across like a crescent moon, its powerful force slicing a long gash in the metal wall of the adjacent building. Molten metal flowed from the edge of the gap, hissing as it met the torrential rain, emitting steam. The next second, a series of gunshots rang out, and a figure darted past. The bullets were expertly dodged, but then the two combatants collided fiercely. Their lightsabers clashed, the electromagnetically contained blades buzzing loudly upon impact. Sheikh Tai wielded a blue lightsaber, which was met by a smaller green lightsaber, held backhand like a dagger by none other than Gabriel Tosh. Ah, the lightsaber. Much better than a vibro-knife. Voodoo, I like it very much, Tosh remarked with a sinister smile, then, without warning, unleashed a mind blast. While Sheikh Tai was defending, she was forced to retreat, tiny sparks flashing across her combat suit as she vanished into thin air. Boom! Boom! Gunshots echoed through the seemingly empty air, a testament to the incredibly close-range shooting by an unseen assailant. However, Sheikh Tai quickly reacted, deflecting the bullets with her sword before launching the lightsaber in a precise direction. Boom! Another gunshot sounded. The lightsaber veered off course, but Sheikh Tai caught it mid-air, reclaiming it before slashing through the air. Swish! Another massive gash appeared in the metal wall, but Tosh had vanished. Where? Sheikh Tai remained vigilant, her instincts suddenly alerting her to danger. She spun around, swinging her sword just in time to feel a sharp pain in her back shoulder, as if grazed by a blade. At the same time, her lightsaber strike disrupted Tosh's invisibility, revealing his figure illuminated by a flash of lightning. A charred scar was visible on his chest, thankfully superficial. Caught you. You're finished, Tosh declared, revealing a hideous smile as he brandished a grenade with the pin pulled. Boom. Sheikh Tai quickly retreated, using the force to shield herself from the explosion's aftermath. She noticed Tosh had also put distance between them. Hey, Jedi Knight, you are very powerful, but it's useless, Kamino. It's over, Tosh's voice echoed menacingly. Dream on. Sheikh Tai retorted angrily, but she suddenly felt an eerie force enveloping her. Without hesitation, she fortified her defenses with the force. Gabriel Tosh stood in the distance, manipulating a voodoo doll crafted from withered grass, smearing it with Sheikh Tai's blood using his butterfly knife. Die! Tosh hurled the knife, stabbing the voodoo doll. Poof! Sheikh Tai's chest was instantly stained with blood. She clenched her teeth, resisting Tosh's bizarre power. The butterfly knife, though it pierced the voodoo doll, was halted by an unseen force, unable to penetrate further. Tosh's smile grew more malevolent. I told you I caught you. Sweat beaded on Sheikh Tai's forehead, not just from her wound or Tosh's peculiar abilities, but also due to the distress signals blaring from her communicator. General Grievous is here. The factory area requests support. Quick, retreat. Clone Commander Cody of the 212th Attack Battalion urged his troops to fall back and regroup. Boom, boom. The sounds of gunfire and explosions intensified, signaling that the battle had reached its climax. In front of them stood a towering robot, unfolding its 4 mechanical arms, each brandishing a lightsaber. The lightsabers whirled at a dizzying speed, resembling electric fans in their rapid rotation. The robot's movements were equally swift, darting and leaping with such agility that no amount of firepower could land a hit. In what seemed like an instant, it decimated an entire squad of clone troopers. Ha! Did you think I was still in the Darren Galaxy? Fools of the Republic! Ha! This formidable robot was none other than General Grievous. The robots under his command dispersed in all directions, operating in small units and vanishing into the chaos of the battlefield. Among them were the BX robot commandos, some of the most lethal machines ever produced by the Confederation of Independent Systems. These robots dashed across the battlefield with incredible speed, their marksmanship unerringly precise. They executed rapid rolls, dodging the clone troopers' gunfire with ease, and were even capable of executing headshots while in motion. Though their numbers were few, just a couple of hundred, they tipped the scales of victory decisively in favor of the Confederation of Independent Systems. Under General Grievous's command, the robot army breached the clone soldiers' defenses like a relentless tide, initiating a massacre within the clone factory area. Clone commanders Cody and Flash Shield led their forces in a strategic retreat, attempting to regroup and fortify their defenses, but the vastness of the factory area meant that the robot army was swiftly closing in on the core of the factory's mainframe. Despite their efforts to contact Master Shak Ti for assistance, their calls went unanswered. Shak Ti was currently engaged in a fierce battle with Gabriel Tosh, leaving her unable to respond. General Grievous, amidst his onslaught on the clone troopers, bellowed with laughter. "Ha! You Republic fools! You thought I couldn't manage attacks on two fronts? My mobility allows me to strike wherever I please. Ha ha! Mark my words, the clone army ends today." Meanwhile, in the orbit of planet Camino, the fleets of the Republic and the Confederation of Independent Systems clashed fiercely. Leveraging the superior firepower of their giant Beast-class battlecruisers, which outmatched the Republic's Chaser-class ships, the Confederation began to gain the upper hand. Republic Admiral Wolf Uralin, having evacuated his damaged Governor-class battleship, took command of a Chariot-class battlecruiser as his new flagship. "Retreat! Retreat! If necessary, we'll take cover in the planet's atmosphere," he ordered. Just then, a burst of white light pierced the space, heralding the arrival of 6 additional Chaser-class battlecruisers. On the communication screen before Admiral Wolf Uralin, 2 striking figures appeared, one clad in red, the other in blue. "Admiral Yularen," they announced, "we've come to your aid." Chapter within 74, The Emergence of Results. "Admiral Yularen, we're here to save you," came a crisp voice, as melodious as a silver bell, from the 2 striking women dressed in red and blue on the screen. However, Admiral Wolf Yularen could barely suppress a twitch at the corners of his mouth upon recognizing them. Luna Meng and Luna Huan, the Jedi Knight sisters, were known for their formidable prowess and stunning beauty, yet their personalities left much to be desired. Luna Huan, in particular, was notorious for her ability to disrupt the most meticulously laid plans with her unpredictable antics. "Ah, the Dream Sisters. Have you brought the 227th Assault Battalion? It's a relief to have reinforcements. The situation on planet Camino is dire. General Grievous has made an unexpected appearance. It seems the Separatists' military operations on Daron were merely a diversion, with their true target being Camino," Admiral Yularen explained. "Oh, sister, let's first deal with the Separatist battleship," Luna Huan suggested, seemingly oblivious to Yularen's briefing, her attention already shifting towards the battle. Luna Meng, the epitome of calm and grace, placed her hands on her abdomen and nodded slightly. "Let's launch the fighter jet and join the fray," she said with a serene voice. Luna Huan burst into laughter, her excitement palpable. "Exactly! The real thrill begins when both sides engage. Ha ha ha!" As the hangar doors of the 6 Chariot-class battlecruisers opened, a swarm of Republic V-19 Riptide light fighters took to the skies, rushing towards the Confederation of Independent Systems fleet. The Dream Sisters boarded their specialized 2-seat ARC-170 fighter jet, blending seamlessly with the Republic formation. On the bridge, Admiral Yularen watched the daring advance of the Galactic Republic fighters with a resigned sigh. "Inform all capable ships to launch a counterattack immediately and support the Dream Sisters in battle," he ordered. "Big Sister, do you think the Governor will be upset with us?" Luna Huan inquired, her focus on the battle ahead. Luna Meng, managing the fighter jet's complex electronics with ease, replied, "It depends on our performance." "Can we achieve a perfect score?" Luna Huan asked eagerly. "With both the Separatist leader and Grievous present, an 80 is the best we can hope for," Luna Meng assessed. "And Grievous's current score?" Luna Huan probed further. 70, Luna Meng stated. "Then we should aim for 70 as well, ha ha!" Luna Huan laughed heartily. "Sister, let's do this." Luna Meng nodded silently, already weaving an illusion with her abilities. Luna Huan's laughter echoed as she gestured with her hand, unleashing a powerful surge of the light side of the Force across the battlefield. In an instant, the Republic's fighter formation seemed to double in size, with illusions of additional fighters mingling with the real ones, charging towards the Separatist fleet. Admiral Trench, commander of the Separatist fleet aboard the Behemoth-class battlecruiser the Invulnerable, observed the sudden increase in Republic fighters with a tsek. "Illusions. Typical of the sisters," he remarked, lightly tapping his palm with a pointer. "Our sensors cannot differentiate between the real and the illusory fighters, reported a T-Series tactical droid in a monotone. Contract our defenses. The Republic's reinforcements were anticipated, Admiral Trench instructed calmly. Inform General Grievous that our time is running short. The tactical droid acknowledged, and the message was promptly relayed. Meanwhile, on the ground battlefield of planet Camino, communications continued, setting the stage for a pivotal confrontation. On the desolate streets, General Grievous issued a stern command to the BX robot commando beside him. Attack at all costs. Time is not on our side. The BX commando responded, the clone troopers are numerous, and we require more time to eliminate them. Unmoved, General Grievous bellowed, forget the secondary targets. Focus on the mainframe. I must have the genetic data of the clones. Understood, the commando replied. Inside the factory zone, chaos reigned supreme. The ground was littered with layers of clone trooper corpses and droid wreckage, painting a grim picture of the battle's ferocity. The death toll of clone soldiers that day had surpassed the total losses on the battlefield in the previous 6 months, and it continued to rise at an alarming rate. The droid legions of the Confederation of Independent Systems marched forward, stepping over bodies without a second thought, their only focus being to fire upon any sign of movement. Despite their overwhelming numbers, the clone troopers' flesh-and-blood defense lines still held some ground. The B-1 battle droids had suffered significant losses, and the B-2 super battle droids were not faring much better. The main force now consisted of hundreds of BX robot commandos, facing off against tens of thousands of clone soldiers and trainees. Meanwhile, in Tipoca City, the capital of planet Camino, Maris Bruder, the apprentice of Master Shakti, led the clone soldiers in a valiant defense of the Prime Minister's palace. The palace, being the administrative heart of the planet, boasted formidable defenses. Even the elite Solarian Special Service Force struggled to penetrate this fortress-like structure, opting instead to chip away at the clone soldiers' morale by targeting them on the outskirts. In such a direct assault, the Special Forces found little advantage over regular troops. Maris made a wise decision in focusing on defense. Soon, Master Plo Koon arrived with reinforcements aboard a Cheer-class assault landing ship. Without waiting for his forces to fully assemble, he led a swift counterattack. The Solarian Special Forces, recognizing the shift, adjusted their tactics. Instead of storming the Prime Minister's office, they focused on harassing and delaying Plo Koon's troops. In space, the arrival of the Dream Sisters instantly shifted the balance of the battle. The Confederate fleet, under the command of Admiral Trench, found itself on the defensive. The fleet began descending towards Camino's atmosphere, a tactical move to reduce the speed of their fighters and lessen the threat to their warships due to the planet's gravitational pull and atmospheric resistance. Observing the battle, Luna Huan's interest waned. She shook her head and said to her sister, "Let's head down. Master Shakti cannot fall. I'm quite fond of her." "Okay," Luna Meng agreed, always swayed by her sister's whims. Bursting with excitement, Luna Han exclaimed, "To Tipoca City we go! Ha!" "Master Shakti is outside the factory zone," she added. No, there's someone far more interesting in Tipoca City. Please remember to visit our website for the fastest updates. Volume 2, Chapter 75, Collapse. The custom-built two-seater ARC-170 fighter jet plunged through the atmosphere of planet Camino, heading straight for the heart of Tipoca City, the capital's Prime Minister's office. The area was embroiled in intense combat. The Solarian Special Forces, adept in their maneuvers, thrived in the labyrinthine architecture of Tipoca City, using it to their advantage. Their amphibious nature meant they could dive into the sea at a moment's notice to evade capture or regroup, making them formidable opponents. The seas around Camino were patrolled by AQ-series underwater combat robots and Trident-class amphibious assault ships, indicating the Confederation of Independent Systems' control over the waters, while the Galactic Republic dominated the skies. The battle for Camino was a fierce contest of aerial and naval supremacy, with skirmishes spreading through the city's sea-bound structures. Jedi Master Pro Kong's reinforcements had been significantly reduced after their Cheer-class assault landing ship was shot down by separatist Trident-class amphibious assault ships. With limited troops and constant harassment from the Solarian Special Service, They were struggling to evacuate Kamino's prime minister, Ramasu. The arrival of the ARC-170 fighter jet brought a moment of relief to Master Procong. As the hatch opened, two young women in red and blue dresses descended gracefully, undeterred by the battlefield's chaos. The Solarian Special Forces, hidden in the shadows, opened fire, but their bullets merely passed through illusions. Master Procong, leading a squad of clone troopers, dashed forward, deflecting incoming bullets and rockets with his lightsaber, and escorted the sisters into the building. "It's a relief to see you here, Dream and Fantasy," he greeted them warmly. The sisters, holding the corners of their dresses, curtsied in unison. "Master Procong, we've been sent by Master Windu to reinforce Kamino. Please command us," they said together, their voices harmonizing perfectly. Jedi Knight Mary's brooder, who had come to assist in Ramasu's evacuation, tensed upon seeing the Dream Sisters. Known for their impeccable behavior to teachers and elders, the sisters were infamous among their peers for their mischievous antics. "Excellent," Procong exclaimed, delighted by their respectful demeanor. "General Grievous has been spotted in the factory area. It seems the Separatists are determined to halt our clone trooper production. I must lead our forces there. Your arrival is timely. You'll help protect Prime Minister Ramasu and assist Marys with the evacuation." "We'll ensure Prime Minister Ramasu's safety," the sisters promised obediently. With a nod, Procong departed with his troops towards the factory area. The Dream Sisters watched him leave, then turned to face Mary's brooder, a mischievous glint in Lunahan's eyes. Mary's brooder stiffened, wary of their intentions. "What are you planning? Just remember, I'm not easily intimidated." "Let's go, Miss Maris. We're here to assist you," Lunahan said, raising her hand. With a wave, hundreds of illusionary clone soldiers appeared, filling the area. Maris, visibly annoyed, turned to leave. However, as she did, a shadowy figure materialized in front of her. The sight was fleeting, vanishing as quickly as it had appeared, but it left Maris shaken. With a swift motion, she turned her lightsaber towards Lunahan, the blade stopping mere inches from Lunahan's neck. "Don't play such games with me, unless you wish to meet your end here," Maris growled, barely containing her fury. Lunahan, unfazed by the lightsaber at her throat, maintained her serene smile. "Sister, look how fascinating she is," she remarked to Luna Meng, who simply smiled in response. Ignoring her sister's antics, Luna Meng respectfully addressed Maris. "We must depart immediately. The Solarian Special Service will soon see through our illusions." On the planet Kamino, within the clone factory area, General Grievous was unstoppable. Jedi Master Shak Ti, who was said to oversee the defense, was nowhere to be found. The clone soldiers alone were insufficient to halt General Grievous's relentless assault. Demonstrating his strategic brilliance, General Grievous directed the BX robot commandos to breach the clone troopers' defenses with surgical precision. Then, coordinating with B-2 super battle droids and AQ underwater combat droids, he launched surprise attacks that were devastatingly effective. The clone factory was on the brink of being overrun. The valiant efforts of numerous clone trainers who had fallen defending their posts were the only thing preventing a total collapse. In a desperate bid to hold the line, even clones as young as 10 years old were armed and sent into battle. A squad of BX droid commandos skillfully navigated the hallways and ceilings, eliminating young clone trainers with ruthless efficiency. Taking cover, they deployed drones that sped towards a group of clone trainers and adult soldiers attempting to fortify their position. The drones detonated unexpectedly, causing chaos and destruction among the clone troopers. In the aftermath of the explosion, the BX commandos emerged from the smoke and debris, their precise fire leaving no survivors. One of the commandos retrieved a communicator from a fallen clone trooper and responded to the command center's inquiries with a perfect imitation of the trooper's voice, falsely reporting that the defense line was holding. This scene of deception and warfare underscored the dire situation on Kamino, where the line between survival and annihilation was perilously thin. Vol 2, Chapter 1076, You Should Be Afraid. The BX series robot commandos are the epitome of perfect warriors. Their intelligence is formidable, rivaling that of sentient beings. On the battlefield, they demonstrate an uncanny ability to dodge incoming fire, seek cover independently, and even employ stealth tactics, utilizing drones for reconnaissance or surprise attacks. Moreover, their cunning extends to the use of subterfuge, such as scanning and mimicking the voices of clone troopers to disrupt enemy communications. However, their excellence comes with a significant drawback: the astronomical cost of production. This expense is so prohibitive that one might lose the courage to even glance at the bill a second time. As the saying goes, if it's expensive, that's your problem, isn't it? This time, General Grievous, with a metaphorical swing of Count Dooku's hefty checkbook, shattered the proverbial glass and delivered a stinging blow to the Republic, causing them to stumble significantly. Deploying hundreds of BX-series robot commandos, an amount typically produced by Bactoid combat automata in a year, the Galactic Republic's defenses around the clone factory area crumbled. A violent explosion tore through a massive disc-shaped building, creating an opening through which several destroyer robots swiftly entered. Unfolding their bodies to deploy shields, they opened fire, followed by a swarm of B-2 super battle droids. The BX robot commandos infiltrated from various directions, including vents, executing a multi-dimensional assault on the remaining clone defenders. In the ensuing chaos, the commander of the clone ARC training team, SHIELD, valiantly sacrificed himself to cover the retreat of his fellow trainers. Cody, too, managed to evacuate the younger clone trainers with the remnants of their forces. General Grievous, with a nonchalant air, entered the building through the main entrance, despite a nearby blasted gap. As the Supreme Commander, he maintained a semblance of decorum. Inside, he found the heavily guarded embryo bank and a massive cylindrical supercomputer. With a laugh, he ordered, "Seize the embryo bank. Extract the data from the host. If we can't take it, destroy everything." "Roger," responded a BX robot. It promptly fetched a high-powered cutter to breach the bomb-resistant glass cover of the embryo bank, while other robots began hacking the supercomputer's firewall and security to extract the needed data. Suddenly, dozens of L-8I assault transport ships, escorted by V-19 Torrent fighters, soared overhead at high speed. Landing atop the building, clone troopers poured out, ready for battle. Jedi Master Plo Koon disembarked as well, nodding to a Kaminoan scientist, who quickly entered a series of codes into his terminal. Instantly, numerous entry points opened across the building's sturdy structure. Without a moment's delay, the clone troopers rappelled down, gaining a tactical advantage over the robots below, who were attempting to destroy the embryo bank and hack the supercomputer. Unlike the previous engagement in the factory area, which involved primarily clone trainers, Plo Koon's forces were seasoned warriors, the true match for the BX robot commando. "Stop these Republic pests. Complete the mission quickly," General Grievous ordered. At that moment, a figure wielding a lightsaber charged towards them, leading the soldiers. General Grievous, ready for the confrontation, extended his arms, preparing for battle. In a whirlwind of motion, the figure split into four, each hand deftly grasping a lightsaber from within the cloak. With a swift motion, the lightsabers were activated, their blades spinning at high speed to meet the oncoming attack. The clash of the 5 lightsabers was thunderous, echoing through the air with a resonant hum. "Ah, Master Prokong, it was such a pity I didn't kill you on the Fang." General Grievous sneered, his voice laced with malice. "That's right, Grievous. And so, the Fang paid its due price." The two combatants exchanged rapid blows, their light sabers a blur of motion. Despite lacking the force, General Grievous was revered as a demigod among the Kali. His mechanical body, a costly creation of the Interstellar Banking Association, endowed him with power surpassing many Jedi Masters. Even Plo Koon, a member of the Supreme Council, found himself under pressure when facing Grievous. Meanwhile, in Tipoca City, the Dream Sisters were employing illusions to covertly evacuate Prime Minister Ramasu. Maris Bruder, Sheikh T's apprentice and a female Zabrak, lagged behind, her frustration mounting as she faced the relentless sniping and harassment from the Solarian Special Forces. Glancing back at the composed Dream Sisters, her anger boiled over. Pointing at the shadowy outlines of buildings, she bellowed, "You need to move too. There's clearly an ambush over there. Go and eliminate them. How else do you expect us to evacuate the Prime Minister?" "We're not combatants. Our strength lies in our illusions, which we're using to protect you as best we can," Luna Meng responded calmly. I suggest you stop arguing and focus on getting me to safety, Ramasu interjected, walking over to them. And you, why are you dawdling in front of me? The spaceship is just ahead. Are you out for a stroll? Maris snapped, her irritation palpable. Big sister, look, she's quite amusing, Ramasu suddenly said, turning to Luna Meng with a voice as melodious as a silver bell. Maris's expression shifted as the world around her seemed to dissolve like ice under the sun. The spaceport she thought she was heading towards was actually an evacuated commercial area. A holographic advertisement flickered nearby, where she had previously seen only containers. And Ramasu, who she thought was in front of her, was actually Luna Huan. Maris's complexion turned even paler, her fear evident. You, when did you? She stammered, taking a step back. Ha ha! Weren't you just saying you weren't afraid of us? Luna Han laughed heartily. You should be afraid, Luna Meng whispered softly, because of the darkness buried in your heart. Please remember the first domain name of this book. For the fastest updates, visit the Apex Novel Network's mobile version website. Vol 2, Chapter 77, The Real Devil. Maris Bruder was seething with anger. You two, don't test my patience, she exclaimed, feeling as though the Dream Sisters were making a fool of her. However, the atmosphere had taken a peculiar turn. Luna Huan, who was typically loquacious, remained silent, offering only a sneering gaze. Meanwhile, Luna Meng, usually reserved, began to advance towards Maris with deliberate steps. Darkness lurks within your heart, dear sister, Luna Meng whispered, her voice fluctuating eerily. She spread her arms slightly, a cryptic smile playing on her lips as she moved closer to Maris. A sense of inexplicable dread crept into Maris's heart. Luna Meng's eyes seemed to transform into a profound vortex, resembling a galaxy of endless stars, bottomless and mesmerizing. Merely locking eyes for a moment, Maris felt her mind being drawn into an infinite abyss, a vortex beneath a vortex, with no end in sight. Frail heart, shrouded in darkness. Master Yoda may have overlooked your heart, but I have seen your dreams. Luna Meng's voice resonated, ethereal and penetrating, as if reaching directly into the soul. Your dreams are tainted and vile. Thus, for our own comfort, it's best we cleanse you. Luna Huan, standing behind with her arms crossed, made no move to intervene, her demeanor unusually passive. It was as if her involvement was unnecessary for what was about to unfold. You. Maris, overwhelmed, took another step back, only to bump into something. Her nerves on edge, she instinctively swung her lightsaber behind her. A familiar scream pierced the air as Maris turned to see a figure bisected by her blade. Despite the lightsaber's cauterizing effect, blood seemed to spurt into the air. The figure, screaming in terror, was her own reflection. Maris Bruder froze, the screams echoing louder and more harrowing. This is the deepest darkness within your heart. This darkness consumes your soul, but... Luna Meng, now standing before Maris, commented lightly. It's slow, grotesque, utterly repulsive. Your aggressive facade merely masks the cowardice and inferiority buried deep within your heart. Silence. Maris Bruder, driven to madness, roared as she lunged at Luna Meng with her lightsaber, shouting, I'll kill you. The blade flashed, but Luna Meng effortlessly caught the lightsaber with her bare hands. Maris was dumbfounded. No. Impossible. The Jedi Order has long rumored that you lack any skill in swordsmanship, that you cannot possibly engage in a duel with other Force-sensitive beings. Who knows? Luna Meng's smile grew more unsettling. Driven to frenzy, Maris slashed wildly at Luna Meng, who now seemed disinterested in even raising a hand in defense. Maris's lightsaber failed to even mar Luna Meng's clothing. It's too loud, too unbearable. The shrill screams, her own, persisted, and even as Maris covered her ears, the screams penetrated. In a fit of desperation, she discarded her lightsaber, and in a gruesome act, pierced her own ears, creating 2 bloody cavities. Stop! Please stop! Maris screamed, her voice merging with the screams of her other self. Our master, Master Depabilaba, always said my sister is a nightmare for the ordinary, and I, a nightmare for those sensitive to the Force. She never allowed me to reveal my power. Now I understand why. Luna Meng spoke, her form beginning to expand, growing larger and larger, until a towering giant, standing over 10 meters tall, loomed ominously. You should really be afraid, she said, her voice echoing with a chilling tone. With a swift motion, she grabbed Maris, holding her firmly in her grasp. Maris screamed in terror, struggling desperately against the inevitable. As Luna Meng's hand tightened, a horrifying sound of cracking bones filled the air. Maris's body was mercilessly squeezed, causing blood, excrement, and even internal organs to forcefully expel from every orifice. Maris Bruder, witnessing the gruesome scene, fell to her knees with a heavy thud. She looked up in horror, only to see Luna Huan, watching with a smile, her arms crossed, while Luna Meng stood calmly by, her hands elegantly folded in front of her, as if untouched by the violence. In a moment of disbelief, Maris raised her hands, unleashing a force more powerful than she had ever felt before. It was a surge of strength that filled her with both awe and dread. Yet, this newfound power felt like a bucket of ice water had been poured over her, chilling her to the core. It was the dark side of the Force. "No, no! What have you done to me?" Maris roared, her voice laced with hysteria, directed at the Dream Sisters. "This is your own darkness," Luna Meng responded calmly. "I merely brought out the deepest fear in your heart. You are terrified of death, so much so that you would do anything to avoid it. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hatred, and hatred leads to suffering. Our combined forces create an illusion," Luna Han added with a heartless laugh. "But to craft this illusion requires 2 steps. Perhaps you should head to the Dawn Planet. The governor might be pleased to have an extra pawn in his game. That way, he won't have any reason to blame us." Upon hearing that she was considered mere cannon fodder, Maris, who had just moments ago felt an unparalleled surge of power, now felt a burning rage within her. Under normal circumstances, she might have ignored such a comment, but now it ignited an inferno of anger in her heart. "Cannon fodder, you dare call me." Her words were cut short as she caught sight of Luna Meng's calm, serene eyes and Luna Huan's mocking gaze. They had toyed with her mind, her heart, her very soul, altering her force and pushing her into the dark side. They were the true monsters. Please remember the original domain of this book. For the fastest updates, visit the Apex Novel Network's mobile site. Vol 2, Chapter 1078, 70% Victory. Maris Bruder staggered backward, her confidence shattered. The temporary surge of power from embracing the dark side now offered no comfort. She felt exposed, her soul laid bare and vulnerable. Death seemed imminent, yet the thought of falling into the hands of these two was far more terrifying. "Dawn Planet, remember to go there," Luna Magic reminded with a playful smile. Maris Bruder's eyes widened at the mention of Dawn Planet. "Why Dawn Planet? You are traitors!" "Shh!" Luna Huan playfully pressed her index finger to her lips and winked at Maris. "Be quiet or it won't be fun." Panicked, Maris Bruder fled, her escape so hasty she didn't even notice dropping her lightsaber or losing a shoe. Her screams echoed into the night as she vanished. Luna Huan tilted her head, turning to her sister. "How much has General Grievous accomplished, sister?" 70%, Luna Meng replied coolly. "He's unaware that he only destroyed the 1st and 2nd generation clone factories. The 3rd generation factory is still operational underwater. Nonetheless, he managed to obtain DNA data and destroy at least half of our stockpile of cloned human embryos. Then, let's have tea, elder sister." Luna Huan bounded over to her sister, her demeanor playful. Luna Meng nodded, producing a delicate water bottle. "This is the black tea I brewed before we left, from Dawn Planet. Storing it this way might affect the taste, though." "Wow! Big sister is the best." Luna Huan eagerly took the bottle, opened it, and gulped down the black tea. Meanwhile, at the clone factory area, the clash of lightsabers filled the air. General Grievous and Master Procong were locked in intense combat. Despite lacking the Force, Grievous's mechanical body and 4 arms, combined with his combat experience and skills, made him a formidable opponent. Count Dooku's teachings had allowed him to develop a unique fighting style. Grievous wielded his lightsabers with unparalleled speed and precision, his 4 arms working in perfect harmony to create an impenetrable defense and relentless offense. His technique was so effective it had claimed the lives of over 20 Jedi Knights. However, Master Procong was not easily bested. As one of the Jedi Order's most powerful masters, he held his ground against Grievous's onslaught with remarkable skill. The battle between Procong's clone army and Grievous's droid forces was equally fierce. Despite the clones' efforts, the BX droid commando's formidable combat capabilities and strategic positioning made it difficult for the clones to gain any significant advantage. The conflict raged on, the outcome hanging in the balance as both sides fought with determination and skill. General Grievous had strategically placed several explosives within the clone factory's embryo storage area and armed a small nuclear device. Concurrently, he received an update from a robot tasked with hacking into the facility's mainframe. The robot's message, transmitted through General Grievous's communication device, was urgent. "General, we've successfully breached the mainframe and extracted the DNA data of the clones. However, we've uncovered information about an even larger, more advanced factory complex located at the bottom of the sea." Amidst the chaos of battle, General Grievous, wielding his lightsaber with deadly precision, forced Jedi Master Plo Koon to retreat step by step. Without pausing, Grievous responded to the update. "We don't have time to focus on another factory. Initiate the retreat and detonate the bomb immediately." "Roger," came the swift reply. The Confederation of Independent Systems robot army began their withdrawal, with the remaining Trident-class amphibious assault ships and AQ-series underwater robots moving to provide cover. Meanwhile, a Behemoth-class battlecruiser from the Confederate fleet breached the atmosphere of Kamino, adding to the tension. On the outskirts of the factory complex, Master Shakti finally managed to escape the clutches of Gab, Rael Tosh. She had seized a moment of opportunity to break free from the influence of Tosh's mysterious voodoo doll, severing the psionic link with a swift strike of her lightsaber. The attack seemed to have backfired on Tosh, causing him to cough up blood. Yet he managed a sinister smile and said, "Impressive, Jedi Knight. Until next time." With those words, he activated his damaged but functional cloaking device and disappeared into the sea. Breathing heavily and clutching a wound on her waist, Shakti nearly collapsed. However, a sudden, ominous premonition through the Force spurred her into action. Without hesitation, she sprinted to a hovercar and sped away from the impending disaster. "Attention! Grievous intends to obliterate this facility. We must disarm those bombs immediately." Plo Koon, already struggling to hold his ground, realized the futility of stopping Grievous and his forces from escaping. His expression darkened as he commanded, "Abandon the bomb disposal. Everyone, retreat at once." The clone troopers hastened their retreat from the factory. Moments later, a series of devastating explosions rocked the facility. The tactical nuclear bombs, strategically placed within the embryo banks and factory areas, detonated with ferocious intensity. The blasts engulfed the entire factory in a massive inferno, and the shockwave obliterated everything within its vicinity. The factory, once sealed and robust, could not withstand the immense force of the explosions. It shattered from the inside out, resembling a cracked egg, before a colossal fireball erupted, rolling tumultuously before culminating in a towering mushroom cloud. The clone factory was no more. In a lighter moment amidst the chaos, Luna Huan turned to her sister with a smile, playfully teasing, "Sister, that was a 70-point performance." She reached out, affectionately stroking her sister's soft cat. Please note, the original text contained elements that seemed to blend various franchises and characters in an unconventional manner, which has been preserved for continuity. Vol 2, Chapter 1079, Today's Fivefold Effort. The Dream Sisters regrouped the clone troopers scattered throughout Topoka City and made their way towards the factory district. There, they encountered Masters Shakti and Plo Koon, both of whom had sustained injuries of varying severity. Master Shakti's condition was particularly dire. She had been placed on a stretcher, connected to a ventilator, and was being transported to the medical center. Initially wounded by the Solarian Special Forces, her situation worsened after a confrontation with Gabriel Tosh, who used a peculiar voodoo doll against her. Additionally, the hover car she was in was caught in the blast radius of a tactical nuclear bomb, exacerbating her injuries. Master Plo Koon, who had been inside the factory when the bomb was discovered, made the critical decision that it was impossible to disarm. Thanks to the Foundry's robust defenses, the nuclear bomb did not detonate. Upon seeing the Dream Sisters, Plo Koon acknowledged their efforts in confirming Prime Minister Ramasu's safety and inquired about Maris Bruder. The sisters could only shake their heads in disappointment. Luna Meng knelt beside Master Shakti's stretcher, gently holding her hand, and whispered about Maris Bruder's fall to the dark side during their desperate escape. "She was too fast for us to catch," Luna Han added. Master Shakti, too weak to speak, squeezed Luna Meng's hand in acknowledgement before being transported to the spacecraft by a medical droid. Plo Koon, attempting to alleviate the sisters' guilt, approached them. "You shouldn't blame yourselves too much. I was fully aware of the situation in Tipoca City and had first-hand experience with the Solarian Special Forces. Their exceptional metabolism and training make them formidable opponents. It was a difficult situation, and Maris Bruder's fall is a tragedy, a result of her inability to resist the dark side's temptation," he explained, emphasizing that their lack of expertise in lightsaber combat made confronting a fallen Jedi Knight challenging. Luna Meng expressed their regret for not being more prepared, to which Plo Koon responded encouragingly, urging them to seek his guidance whenever needed. "You represent a beacon of hope among the Jedi," he reassured them. With the Separatist fleet in retreat and other galactic sectors requiring attention, Master Plo Koon, despite his injuries, prepared to lead the fleet elsewhere. Following Master Windu's orders, the Dream Sisters and the 6 Chaser-class battlecruisers under their command were to remain in the Camino system, taking over the defense and overseeing the production efforts in Master Shakti's stead. This chapter not only highlights the aftermath of a fierce battle, but also delves into the emotional and psychological impacts on the characters involved. The Dream Sisters' encounter with Masters Shakti and Plo Koon serves as a poignant reminder of the costs of war and the personal battles that continue even after the physical ones have ended. On the planet Camino, known for its clone factories, the Dream Sisters, Luna Meng and Luna Huan, stood atop the shell of a building, taking in the rare clarity of the Kaminoan sky. Their presence there, tasked with a cleanup operation that would typically fall to members of the Supreme Council, was a testament to their rising status within the Jedi Order's core leadership. "There are still many good people in the Jedi Order," Luna Meng remarked, initiating a rare conversation between the two. "A lot of annoying ghosts, too," Luna Huan retorted with a pout. "Being a good person doesn't necessarily mean one is suited for these times," Luna Meng continued thoughtfully. "The Jedi Order, it's time for it to end. People are torn between darkness and light, unsure of their path." "Ha!" Luna Huan scoffed. "The governor, though, he's interesting. He started with a pure heart, but never looked back once he turned to darkness. Now he's darker than anyone." Luna Meng turned to her sister, suggesting, "Let's send him a message to our E-port. Report that we interfered with his plans on Camino, or just send him some expendable troops." Despite her words, Luna Huan's expression showed understanding as she picked up the communicator and shook it. Meanwhile, in the outer ring of the Milky Way, on the Laxus subplanet, the Confederate Core Council of Independent Systems convened. Tang Xiao, the governor of Planet Dawn, addressed the room. The plan to raid Camino was largely successful. The room, spacious and filled with only 4 individuals, including Tang Xiao, Count Dooku, San Hill, and Newt Gunray, held a tense atmosphere. An empty seat with a communicator indicated the absence of the dead Angel, a notable figure missing from the meeting. Newt Gunray, visibly relieved by the news, commented, "Cutting off the Republic's clone trooper supply gives us a fighting chance in this war." Tang Xiao elaborated on the strategy. Grievous executed his role flawlessly. He dispersed the Trident-class amphibious assault ships in the temporary bay, followed by the Generosity-class frigate to raid Camino. He then feigned the warship's destruction, allowing the Trident to follow the debris into the ocean and discreetly deploy an army on Camino. Count Dooku, with a grave tone, acknowledged, "This is precisely why we chose him to lead our droid army. The contributions of the Solarians and Gabriel Tosh have also been noteworthy. The support from Planet Dawn has been instrumental in this victory, Governor." Tang Xiao responded with a modest smile. "Much of this success can be attributed to Lord Death Angel." This narrative, originally set against the backdrop of the Star Wars universe, intertwines elements of the Harry Potter fanfiction genre, introducing characters and scenarios that blend the two in a unique crossover. Vol. 2, Chapter 1080, Deeper Planning. The clandestine meeting between Tang Xiao, Count Dooku, Newt Gunley, and Thornhill was convened for a critical reason. The recent spate of military operations was intricately linked to an impending storm capable of shaking the very foundations of the Confederate political system within the independent galaxy. This plan, long in the making, was now set into motion in the DeLong galaxy, signaling the start of a significant upheaval. The Confederation of Independent Galaxies, already teetering on the brink of collapse after enduring over a year of war, was running on fumes. The current trajectory promised nothing but stagnation and eventual defeat. Count Dooku, recognizing the dire situation, was determined not to let the Confederation of Independent Systems crumble under the combined weight of internal strife and external aggression, only to be effortlessly crushed by the Galactic Republic in the latter stages of the war. Tang Xiao, on the other hand, saw an opportunity to lend support to the ailing Confederation of Independent Galaxies. He understood that bolstering this entity was crucial for the Fourth Civilization to continue thriving under its protection. He was well aware of the Confederation's plight and knew that the Galactic Republic was not faring much better. The assault on the Darren system was a bold, albeit seemingly futile endeavor. General Grievous led the charge, commanding a fleet comprised mostly of outdated vessels, including Generosity-class communication frigates, Disobedient-class light destroyers, Lucre Hook-class battleships, Higuera-class battlecruisers, and a handful of Shenyi-class destroyers serving as a mere facade. Launching an attack against the Galactic Republic's heavily fortified defense line in the Darren Galaxy, which had been under construction for 6 months, was akin to a futile attempt at breaking a rock with an egg. However, under General Grievous's command, this aging fleet of over 300 warships represented a significant force, one that the Galactic Republic could not ignore. These warships served as an elaborate decoy, setting the stage for a more critical operation aimed at raiding the Kaminoan planet. Additionally, this maneuver was designed to alleviate the mounting pressure on the Eliadu galaxy by diverting attention away from the ongoing siege of the Dawn planet. The battle for the Eliadu galaxy had escalated into the war's focal point, with both factions deploying substantial forces to the region. The Galactic Republic, in particular, had concentrated a large number of fleets in the vicinity, launching offensives on the planets of Malastar, Sarest, and Yago-Dur. Even Master Yoda had led a fleet to raid the model sector, highlighting the strategic importance of this area. The situation around the Eliadu galaxy had become a ticking time bomb, with tensions reaching a boiling point. Finding a way to distract the Galactic Republic and disperse their assembled fleets was crucial not only for the safety of the Fourth Civilization, but also for the strategic objectives of the Confederation of Independent Systems. Thus, the large-scale attack orchestrated by the Confederation was not just necessary, it was vital. However, beyond the 4 individuals present at the meeting, no one else was privy to the true depth of this offensive's significance. After the meeting concluded, Tang Xiao made his way back to his office in the Laxus Subplanetary Parliament building. En route, his communicator buzzed. He answered, only to find a message from the Dream Sisters awaiting him. With a furrowed brow, he hastened his pace, eager to return to the privacy of his office and activate the communication barrier before engaging in the conversation. "Hello, Governor General." Luna Meng's voice greeted him, marking the beginning of yet another discussion that would undoubtedly influence the course of events to come. Luna Huan and Luna Meng clasped hands, offering a graceful curtsy as if they were born to it. "What brings you to me so suddenly? Is there something urgent?" Tang Xiao inquired with a light yet discerning tone. "Lord Governor, during the conflict on planet Kamino, Master Windu dispatched us to provide reinforcements," Luna Meng responded, her voice steady and composed. "We managed to drive away the Spider Fleet and also succeeded in rescuing Prime Minister Rama Su. You wouldn't hold this against us, would you, Lord Governor?" Luna Huan added, her tone playful yet tinged with a hint of seriousness. "I must ensure that my plans proceed without hindrance," Tang Xiao replied, his voice growing colder, though he remained non-committal. "Lord Governor, your plan has achieved 70% success," Luna Phantom remarked with a light-hearted smile. "General Grievous failed to obliterate the third-generation clone factory at the ocean's depths. However, He destroyed over half of the embryo stock and secured the DNA data, Luna Meng elaborated. Has the production of clones been halted entirely? Tang Xiao's gaze sharpened, his voice icy. In my eyes, there is no room for partial success. I demand total victory. Anything less is unacceptable. I trust you haven't become a liability in this endeavor. To make amends, we've identified a potential scapegoat for you, Luna Huan chimed in. Scapegoat? Tang Xiao raised an eyebrow. Master Shak Ti's apprentice, Maris brood. She has succumbed to the dark side and can no longer remain within the Jedi Order, Luna Meng explained. She harbors darkness within her heart, Luna Han added, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. Among the Jedi Knights, many harbor hidden darkness. Why target someone relatively unknown? Tang Xiao questioned, his expression unreadable. Some threats are too formidable to confront head-on without absolute certainty, Luna Meng replied. A smirk played at the corner of Tang Xiao's mouth. Like Anakin Skywalker? Speaking with the governor is always so refreshing, Luna Huan exclaimed, her smile wide, but her eyes betraying a coldness that matched Tang Xiao's. You took a significant risk contacting me directly. Was it merely to share these tidbits? Tang Xiao scrutinized the sisters, a dark golden light flickering in his eyes. No. We were curious about your aspirations, Lord Governor. What dreams do you harbor? Luna Huan asked, tilting her head innocently, though her gaze remained as frosty as ever. Lord Governor, do you dare to dream? Luna Meng posed the question, her posture demure and respectful, yet her eyes mirrored the coldness in Tang Xiao's. Their voices grew faint, the surroundings taking on an ethereal quality. Do not jest about such matters, Tang Xiao warned, a surge of anger evident in his tone. A formidable dark force erupted from him, traversing the vastness of space, and struck with the force of a colossal fist into the very souls of the Dream Sisters. The communication abruptly cut off. Meanwhile, in a distant office, Count Dooku, who had been meditating in solitude, suddenly opened his eyes, sensing the disturbance. Volume 2, Chapter 1081, Confederate Summit, Part 1. On planet Camino, the Dream Sisters faced each other with a mix of amusement and concern. The broken communicator lay before them, a testament to their recent ordeal. Big sister, you have a nosebleed, Luna Huan pointed out, her own face smeared with blood, yet she couldn't help but laugh heartily. You too, Luna Meng responded, taking out a handkerchief to gently wipe the blood from both their faces. With a hint of realization, she mused, is this why the Master warned us against using this ability? It does have its entertainments. Their laughter filled the room, a brief respite from the seriousness of their abilities. Meanwhile, Tang Xiao, with a sense of finality, destroyed the communicator and lifted the barrier surrounding his office. He issued a calm order. Have our intelligence officers in the neutral sector keep an eye out for a fair-skinned Zabrak woman, bring her to Dawn Planet immediately upon discovery, and avoid any conflicts. Acknowledging the command, he settled back into his chair, a smirk playing on his lips. Curious about my dreams, are you? I'm intrigued to see what happens when Maris Bruder decides to show up. What switch will that flip? His thoughts were interrupted by another message. Francis Underwood's holographic projection appeared, signaling the imminent start of the high-level council meeting. It's time, Tang Xiao declared, standing with a sense of purpose. As he made his way to the meeting, he encountered numerous governors and representatives from across the Confederation of Independent Systems, all casting envious glances his way. His status as a core member and one of the most influential figures was undisputed, a fact that held true across both the Galactic Republic and the Confederation. Upon arriving at the venue, he was greeted by Count Dooku, the supreme leader of the Confederation. The respect Dooku commanded was evident, yet he reserved his warmest welcome for Tang Xiao. Ah, Governor Tang Xiao, your presence honors us, Dooku exclaimed, opting for a respectful bow rather than a hug. You flatter me, Count, Tang Xiao replied, returning the gesture. Their conversation soon turned to the mysterious force Tang Xiao had mentioned. Lord Death Angel's power is indeed formidable, Dooku remarked, clearly impressed yet curious about the nature of their discussion. Tang Xiao, sensing Dooku's skepticism, playfully suggested, perhaps another blood test is in order? Dooku laughed off the suggestion, well aware of the futility of such a test. "Your willingness to prove yourself is appreciated but unnecessary," he said, sharing a knowing look with Tang Xiao. Their laughter marked the beginning of a significant day. "After you count," Tang Xiao insisted, deferring to Dooku's leadership. The date was July 19th, 21 BBY. Amidst the escalating war and the Galactic Republic's aggressive stance, the Confederation of Independent Systems convened its highest summit. Representatives from across the Confederation gathered on the subplanet of Laxus, each determined to navigate the tumultuous times ahead. To attend the meeting, the total number of participants exceeded 10,000, not including the entourage and various officials accompanying them. After Count Dooku delivered his customary enthusiastic opening remarks, his tone shifted dramatically to one of solemnity. He began, "And at this very moment, our valiant warriors of the Confederation of Independent Systems are shedding their blood in battle. They are engaged in fierce combat within the Daron system's expanse." Suddenly, a dazzling light flashed, revealing the energy core of a generous-class communication frigate as it exploded. The light blue blast instantly engulfed the battleship, cutting off the transmission, and then the 825-meter-long Colossus was torn apart by a silent explosion into two pieces. Yet, this was merely the beginning of an exceptionally brutal space battle. Warships unleashed a relentless barrage of artillery fire, demonstrating a terrifying firepower capable of leveling mountains and overwhelming seas on any planet. This firepower was unleashed almost without pause, detonating upon enemy ships, causing shields to ripple with light and armor to shatter under the force of explosions and flames, marking the devastating end of many vessels. In the cold vacuum of space, thousands of fighter jets engaged in deadly dogfights. Countless missiles streaked across the void at high speeds, and a 10,000-meter-long third-level armed space station appeared almost insignificant amidst the vast and ferocious battlefield. The space was littered with fragments of destroyed warships, the corpses of crew members, and the wreckage of robots. Among the debris, a B-1 robot, severed at the waist yet not completely destroyed, sporadically fired its E-5 blaster rifle. However, on this battlefield, the rifle's firepower was as inconsequential as a water gun. An ARC C-170 heavy fighter jet of the Galactic Republic, pursued by two triple robot fighter jets, zoomed past at high speed, instantly obliterating the B-1 robot. Yet, the ARC 170, already low on shield energy, was no match for the powerful collision at such high velocity. Its shield shattered, and the fighter spun out of control, only to be destroyed moments later by the pursuing triple fighter jets. They fought in the vast city on the planet Eliadu. Explosions rocked the area as Republic soldiers, clad in gray military uniforms and taking cover behind crumbling walls, struggled to rise, shaking off the dust. They aimed their outdated EE-3 blasters forward as artillery fire continued to rain down. Behind the lingering smoke, the sound of methodical, heavy footsteps approached, followed by the glow of red lights. 1, 2, 3, then hundreds, then thousands. A formidable army of B-1 battle robots and B-2 super battle robots advanced in precise formation, maintaining a disciplined distance of 5 meters between each unit, steadily advancing toward the Republic's position. As they entered effective range, the robots opened fire simultaneously. A dense volley of energy beams blanketed the Republic's position, melting metal walls and obliterating concrete bunkers. The robot army's relentless barrage never ceased. They fired, advanced, fired again, and advanced further. The Republic soldiers, cowering behind their inadequate cover, lacked the courage to confront the onslaught. They were decimated as easily as if they were being mowed down, and then reinforcements arrived, only to fill the positions with more bodies. Please remember the first domain name of this book. For the fastest updates, visit the Apex Novel Network's mobile version website. Vol 2 Chapter 1082, Confederate Summit, Middle. The battle raged on the planet Rishi. The ATTE all-terrain tactical assault walkers advanced with thunderous steps, their anti-infantry laser cannons blazing ahead, while the heavy howitzers mounted on top lobbed powerful grenades into the distance. Ahead, in the direction of the mountains and mining areas, countless dark figures swarmed through the sky, covering the earth like a plague of locusts. However, these were not locusts, but hundreds of thousands of Geonosians. Armed with special sonic blasters, they maneuvered nimbly through the air, unleashing a torrential downpour of artillery fire upon the Republic's positions. In response, every gun and missile from the Republic's defenses fired into the sky, bringing down countless Geonosians, who fell like rain. The battle extends to the Yago-Dur galaxy. The two massive Agonev-class interstellar bases rotated slowly, their energy cores glowing like deep, luminous wells, emitting a constant, dazzling light. The powerful pulsed lasers mounted on the corners of each base fired rhythmically, scorching long burn marks across the hulls of the invading Republic warships. Both fleets adopted unusual formations, cautiously maintaining their distance as if wary of stepping into a perilous zone. Even the fighter squadrons moved with caution, engaging in combat along invisible pathways. The battle had evolved into a pure contest of firepower, dictated by the complex gravitational and magnetic fields of the Yago-Dur three-body galaxy, which rendered the battlefield area unpredictable. Ships and fighters had to constantly navigate within safe zones to avoid being ensnared by the ever-changing magnetic fields and gravitational traps. While battleships might have a chance to recover from such a predicament, a fighter jet caught in these traps would be torn apart almost instantly. The conflict spans every corner of the Milky Way. Count Dooku proclaimed loudly to the assembly of the Confederation of Independent Systems on the subplanet of Laxus. But today, I am proud to announce that our Supreme Military Commander, General Grievous, has achieved a decisive victory in the Battle of Kamino. He has destroyed the Galactic Republic's clone factory and secured the DNA data of the clones. Henceforth, clone armies will no longer pose a threat to us. As Count Dooku's voice echoed, tens of thousands of representatives erupted into cheers, the atmosphere electric with excitement. Furthermore, our Confederation of Independent Galactic Systems will initiate the first phase of military reforms. New, more powerful warships will soon roll off the production lines and be deployed to the battlefield to crush the malevolent Galactic Republic once and for all. Count Dooku continued. The holographic projection displayed images of the formidable new battleships, including the Monster-class battlecruisers, Martha-class heavy missile cruisers, Dunov-class battlecruisers, and Doomsday-class heavy cruisers, alongside the conceptual designs and construction processes of the Endless-class super aircraft carriers. These formidable new vessels captivated everyone's attention, reigniting the fervor within the assembly. In addition, we will consolidate our forces. We will call upon all allied planets to contribute to the conscription effort, allowing military service to alleviate the burden of war taxes. We will extensively build factories, integrate logistics, and concentrate our forces more effectively. To victory for the Confederation of Independent Systems. Count Dooku raised his arms and declared. While the rhetoric of victory might not have interested most planets, the promise of offsetting war taxes through military service captured their attention, uniting them under a common cause. War taxes have become a grim reality, and it's clear that this is the primary concern for many. The conflict has raged for over a year, leaving numerous planets financially drained due to exorbitant taxes. These worlds have been forced to issue bonds annually, Morka, aging their resources and production capabilities, leading to an ever-increasing spiral of debt owed to the colossal corporate conglomerates. The inevitable outcome for these planets is to mortgage their entire world, subjecting their populations to the control of these corporate giants. During a meeting filled with eager representatives from various planets, the mood shifted dramatically as the expressions of several core members darkened. Among them were Pacel Argent, the chairman of the Enterprise Alliance, Walter Tamber, the foreman of the Technology Alliance, Shu Mai, the head of the Business Guild, and Pogel, the Archduke of Geonosius. As they exchanged glances, noting the confusion mirrored in the faces of the leaders and representatives from the Interstellar Banking Association, the Trade Union, Dawn Planet, the Fourth Group, and Planet Semirus, their concern deepened. Unable to contain her frustration any longer, Shu Mai pressed the speak button, stood up, and addressed the assembly with a loud voice. Before we celebrate any victory, may I demand an explanation from Count Dooku regarding this so-called reform? Count Dooku, with a polite bow, responded, I am prepared to address any concerns you may have, Mrs. Shu Mai. Why has the disobedient-class light destroyer, a key asset of our commercial guild, been omitted from the new generation Navy's plans? Shumai inquired directly. Count Dooku replied with a smile. This decision was made based on practical considerations. The disobedient class has been outperformed by the Galactic Republic's Chaser-class battlecruiser in combat. Furthermore, our intelligence has revealed that the Galactic Republic is in the process of designing and constructing a new generation of warships. It's imperative that we also plan for the future. This is unacceptable. The production of the disobedient class is a fundamental condition for our participation in the Confederation of Independent Systems, Shumai declared firmly. Count Dooku, maintaining his composure, replied, "Dear Mrs. Shumai, we must embrace progress. The commercial guilds cannot afford to stagnate. If you can design a new generation of warships, we would be more than willing to commission their production. This includes the cancellation of the Interstellar Banking Association's Generous-class frigates, the Trade Federation's Lucrahook-class battlecruisers, and the Fourth Group's Higra-class battlecruisers from our shipbuilding plans." Shumai, visibly frustrated, retorted, "That's only because they have access to the Behemoth and Endless." Feigning surprise, Count Dooku responded, If they have set a precedent, then I trust the commercial guild will follow suit, correct?" Raising her voice, Shumai exclaimed, "You know that's not feasible. The commercial guild is a trade organization. Our expertise does not lie in warship design. Yet, we still contribute significant funds and resources. Moreover, how can you justify updating our war fleet after just a year of conflict?" Please note, this narrative is hosted on the Apex Novel Network, the premier destination for the fastest updates in mobile-friendly format. Vol 2, Chapter 1083, Confederate Summit, Part 2. Count Dooku shook his head, a look of resignation on his face. "Unfortunately, Mrs. Shumai, it's not up to us to decide whether to upgrade or not. The battlefield dictates our needs. The disobedient class costs as much as 61 million credit points, and we need between 4 to 6 ships to ensure victory over the Chasseur level, which costs only 59 million credit points." He spread his hands, emphasizing his point. Even when we factor in the extensive carrier-based aircraft group of the Chaser class, its cost is significantly lower than that of constructing 4 disobedient-class ships. Therefore, upgrading is not just a choice, it's a necessity. It's a strategy to alleviate our financial burden and enhance our industrial efficiency. Shumai's anger was palpable, her body trembling with the effort to contain it. Yet she managed to say, "This violates the rules. It contradicts our agreement. I can agree to reduce the construction cost of the disobedient class to possibly 55 million credits, but the order must meet the agreed quantity." Her words were firm, but internally she understood the true cost of the disobedient class light destroyer. The design originated from an immature blueprint stolen from a planet shipyard during the Quarren Isolation Alliance's secession from Mon Calamari. The Commercial Guild then acquired it at a steep price, modifying and improving it into their flagship battleship. This move positioned the Commercial Guild as a formidable force capable of designing and constructing main battleships, on par with other corporate giants. For Shumai, this was a golden opportunity to leverage. The Commercial Guild had poured vast resources into the war effort, and as business people, they were not inclined to see their investments go to waste. They had increased the cost of parts and components for the disobedient class, generating significant profit margins. Shumai had then converted these profits into dividends for the guild, solidifying her position and enriching herself in the process. But the suggestion to scrap this lucrative venture was unthinkable to her. At that moment, a voice from the Dawn Planet Group interjected, "The Commercial Guild could also take on orders for parts of the monster level and contribute in a different manner." The speaker was Prime Minister Francis Underwood of the Fourth Civilization. "Who said anything about contributing? Can I make money by producing these parts?" Shumai retorted impulsively, only to regret her outburst when she caught the disapproving looks from her peers. The Confederation of Independent Galaxies was founded on principles of fairness, justice, and freedom. While making money was acceptable, flaunting it was not. Shumai's candid admission was akin to a slap in the face to the Assembly's ideals. Gross Shelbia, director of the Fourth Group, responded with a sneer. He activated a holographic projection, revealing a massive battleship with a rectangular hull and a raised dome at the rear. This is one of the latest updates to the shipbuilding program at Quarter Power Dock. The Commander 2 class Star Dreadnought, Mandator 2, Star Dreadnought. It represents a complete modernization and redesign of the previous Commander class, maintaining its impressive length of 8,000 meters, according to our data comparison and simulations. In the vast expanse of interstellar conflict, the might of a single dreadnought was a force to be reckoned with, requiring 1,000 disobedient-class ships to match its power. Mrs. Shumai, the architect behind this formidable warship, had truly outdone herself. 1,000 to 1, truly a testament to disobedience, Gross Shelby remarked with a sneer, mocking the ship's overwhelming capabilities. Shumai, taken aback by the audacity of Shelby's comment, whirled around to confront her colleagues, Walter Tamber and Pascal Argent, demanding their support against the mockery they faced. However, Tamber had already assessed the situation, recognizing their limited influence within the broader technical alliance. Given that the main factories and docks of the Confederation of Independent Systems were under their control, any battleship construction would inevitably rely on their facilities, even if it meant accepting lower profits. Pascal Argent, still reeling from a previous defeat at the hands of Tang Xiao during the Battle of Christophsis, was hesitant to challenge the power dynamics at play, fearing further provocation. Similarly, Poggle the Lesser remained silent, carefully evaluating the shifting allegiances and power structures. Once an ally of Darth Sidious alongside figures like Count Dooku and Newt Gunray, Poggle had since distanced himself due to conflicts of interest with the Republic, particularly over the supertank project. Amidst these tensions, Tang Xiao observed the unfolding drama with a detached amusement, his plans for military reform and the reorganization of the Confederation's forces steadily advancing. The upcoming Battle of the Darren system presented an opportunity to redistribute outdated warships and streamline the military, targeting the greed of the business guilds as the first step in a broader strategy. This military overhaul was not just about consolidating power, but also about preparing for the inevitable pushback from the Galactic Republic. If the Republic managed to advance their front lines further into the galaxy, the Confederation's strategic position would be severely compromised. To counter this, Tang Xiao envisioned a daring raid on Kamino by General Grievous, aiming to disrupt the production of clone troopers and weaken the Republic's ground forces. The Confederation's strategy hinged on sacrificing space to maintain dominance on planetary surfaces. By deploying battle droids across numerous occupied planets, they planned to challenge the Republic's clone armies without the need for a supporting fleet. Orbital bombardments by the Republic would be met with resistance from planets fortified with droid armies, undermining the Republic's efforts to secure allegiance from these worlds. In this grand scheme, the Confederation of Independent Systems was betting on its robotic forces to hold the line against the Republic's advances. The threat of orbital bombardment, while significant, was anticipated to drive neutral planets into the Confederation's fold, at least superficially. By trading space for time and leveraging their robot army as a buffer, the Confederation aimed to outmaneuver the Republic, securing a strategic advantage in the ongoing galactic conflict. On this foundation, Tang Xiao collaborated with Thornhill, Newt Gunray, and Earl Dooku to initiate a comprehensive overhaul within the Confederation of Independent Galaxies, focusing on both political and military reforms. Their primary objective was to phase out the existing fleet, which suffered from inconsistent production standards, a variety of models leading to logistical nightmares, low performance, and exorbitant costs. In its place, they aimed to introduce a new fleet characterized by advanced technology, streamlined production processes, and significantly improved efficiency. This strategic move was not merely about upgrading their military capabilities, it was a step towards unifying the Confederation's resources and focus. By centralizing production and standardizing the fleet, they could achieve greater cohesion and operational effectiveness. This was crucial for their long-term plan to consolidate their power and resources, following which they intended to launch a formidable challenge against the Galactic Republic in the outer regions of the galaxy. As these reforms took shape, the Confederation of Independent Galaxies began to transform. The introduction of the new fleet marked a turning point, symbolizing not just a shift in military strategy, but also a broader commitment to innovation and unity. This period of transition was fraught with challenges, as any effort to dismantle the old and usher in the new invariably is. Yet under the leadership of Tang Xiao and his allies, the Confederation was poised to emerge stronger and more unified than ever before. This narrative of transformation and resilience is a testament to the strategic foresight and collaborative spirit of those at the helm of the Confederation of Independent Galaxies. As they navigated the complexities of reform and renewal, their actions set the stage for a new chapter in the galaxy's history, one where the Confederation could stand as a formidable force against the Galactic Republic and beyond. For the latest updates on this thrilling saga, please remember to visit the Apex Novel Network's mobile-friendly website, ensuring you stay abreast of every twist and turn in this interstellar adventure.